Chapter 939. Omega 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 Omega, choking with sobs. Navuyuehua was not afraid. She would know after trying. Oh, that's right, this medicine is for men to eat. Dong Huangli said solemnly. God Yi said nothing. Everyone. Yang Haoyin and Ren Yao felt that their men were all too weak. If not, why would they still have to take medicine? Life must be uncomfortable. However, is the medicine that Dong Huangli made really normal medicine? Hearing that the medicine was for men, she was relieved. Auntie, why do you have time to come over this time? He must have come to see Ali on the way. Moreover, there are so many of them at once. He must have been punished by father. Everyone was speechless. You guessed it right. However, Yang Haoyin and Ren Yao were shocked. Father? He was punished by his father. These horrible women were punished by this child's father. What kind of person was this father? He could actually punish them. He wasn't human at all. Qing Yutong laughed coquettishly. This matter, it's a long story. During this period of time, a lot of things happened. Upon hearing that, Dong Huangli became depressed. Why is it that the moment I leave, there will be something fun to play with? This is so boring. Haha, Ali has to grow up quickly. When the time comes, Auntie will take you to have fun. Who are these two? I have never seen you before. Dong Huangli said while looking at Ren Yao and Yang Haotian. Qing Yutong said with a smile. These two are awesome. This handsome guy is wooing Zizi. Are you actually like Lolis, so perverted? Dong Huangli said while looking at Yang Haotian. As expected, all uncles like Lolis so evil. The corner of Yi Zizi's mouth twitched. She wished she could pinch Yang Haotian to death. She had lost all her face because of him. Yang Haotian actually wanted to explain that he didn't like the loli, he liked the red packet on her butt. Who would like a loli for no reason? He must be crazy. Moreover, this was a violent Lolita. He could not afford to offend her. What about this bald-headed uncle? Brett chuckled. This isn't Uncle Baldy. Could it be Aunt Baldy? Yuhua added. It's not a bald-headed auntie either. My God, what is that? Dong Huangli felt that her brain wasn't enough to process what was going on. Ren Yao was depressed. So what if I'm a neutral person? Did I offend you guys or something? How dare you guys look down on neutral people? I am a guardian. Ren Yao had to emphasize that she was a powerful guardian. Although it was a bit of a scam, at least her reputation was still here. Sounds like it's very powerful. He's actually a weakling, Yi Zizi said in a low voice. Ren Yao, this is too much of a blow to me. Be careful that I don't shut myself off. Oh right, little aunt. What are you guys doing here? Bring me along. Don't you think so, God Yi? I want to learn. God Yi said calmly, carrying out his ruthlessness to the very end. Dong Huangli immediately rolled her eyes. You only know how to cultivate. If it wasn't for me bringing you along to play, you would have already become a fool. Big sister is the one. What? Give me your hand. God Yi extended his hand obediently. Clap, clap. Qing Yutong shook her head, then said with a smile. Ali, the reason why we came here is naturally because of your father's arrangement. As for what it is, you should know, right? Dong Huangli immediately understood, then said with a strange evil smile. I understand, I understand. I really want to go and play with you guys. In a few days, I will be going to the inner sect with God Yi. Qing Yutong stroked onto Qing Yutong's hair. Not bad, you guys have improved once again. However, you guys need to be clear about your identities. Dong Huangli and God Yi nodded their heads seriously. My identity is to take revenge for my father, that's all. I won't add any other emotions. Alright, Aunt won't disturb you guys anymore. In case others get suspicious, we'll be leaving first. Hearing that Qing Yutong was leaving, Dong Huangli and God Yi revealed a look of reluctance. After all, they were all children. Even the cold God Yi hugged onto Qing Yutong. The two of you have to properly take care of each other. That way, Mom and Dad will be more at ease. Qing Yutong patted onto the two little fellows' heads and said gently. I will take good care of Big Sister. It's fine as long as you don't cause trouble for Big Sister. Dong Huangli rolled her eyes at her little brother. Qing Yutong feels that the next time she sees the two of them, They will most likely be good siblings. Brother-in-law's method is quite useful. Alright, you guys can leave first. If you don't leave, we won't be able to bear it. Dong Huangli said with a slightly choked voice. These two little fellows are truly pitiful. When others are already this big, they are still acting coquettishly beside their parents. Yet they have to stay here to complete their mission and receive training. Qin Yutong squatted down and kissed the two of them. Aunt is leaving now, you two have to be obedient. Qin Yutong let out a breath, then walked out of the room. The two children in the room said their goodbyes to the others, then went down the mountain. On the other hand, Qin Yutong was a bit sad. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have come to see the two little fellows. Looking at Aunt leaving, Dong Huangli and God Yi were a bit hesitant. After a long while, Dong Huangli took a deep breath. I'm going to concoct medicine. Big sister, you are not concocting medicine. You are trying to destroy the entire Jade Vein Peak, right? Dong Huangli patted on her little brother's head. What do you know? I am investing in research. Of course there is a risk. After all, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. Don't you know this logic? That medicine that you concocted, it even scared the Peak Lord's mount to the point of paralysis. That little guy is too gutsy. Didn't he just vomit for a month? That's the side effect of research. Oh right, recently Big Sister concocted a new medicine. Can you test it for me? I suddenly forgot that the door was not closed. Big Sister, I'll be leaving first. After finished speaking, God Yi ran off and disappeared. God Yi still remembered that the first time he was tricked by his big sister, he ended up having diarrhea for 3 days and 3 nights. That feeling was even worse than death. Big Sister said that she concocted an anti-diarrhea medicine, but I was tricked again. That is called anti-diarrhea medicine? That is probably an enhanced version of a laxative. Originally, I was about to recover, but in the end, I ended up having diarrhea for 7 days and 7 nights. Furthermore, that medicine is very miraculous, the kind that is unable to cure diarrhea. In the end, Big Sister came back with another medicine, and even guaranteed that it will be effective this time. If I, God Yi, were to be tricked again, I would be embarrassing my father. That's why I let Big Sister try it. Unexpectedly, Big Sister stuffed the medicine into my mouth without saying anything. This time, I, God Yi, believed it, and stuffed one into my mouth as well. However, the toilet had another person squatting in it. If I, God Yi, were to die in the future, I will definitely die in Big Sister's hands. If Big Sister were to die in the future, I will definitely poison her to death. However, from then on, Big Sister no longer took my medicine, and would instead look for people to test the medicine. In the beginning, there were still a lot of people who were willing, and some even queued up to try the medicine. However, a month later, the disciples came to a realization. Baidu search 081 Chinese website Yen. Chapter 940. Translation. However, a month later, the disciples came to their senses. Life is precious, don't joke around. Since there was no one to test the medicine, Sister went to find animals to test the medicine. The most miserable was the Peak Lord's mount. Although it was not a high-grade mount, it was still a powerful species. That ferocious aura made people tremble. In the end, Sister turned that ferocious mount into a little lamb. The Peak Lord wanted to die. He wished he could ask the sect master to take Dong Huangli and him away. Sister is already addicted to medicine. If she doesn't do medicine for a day, she will feel itchy all over. That kind of cauldron explosion happens every day. I'm really worried that Sister will blow up the entire Jade Vein Peak one day. Compared to Sister's achievements, he was much better. All he did was find someone to train with. Unfortunately, there was no one to train with him now. Sister didn't train with him either. This made me, God Yi, fight with my left hand. I wonder what Yi Lu is doing. Is she the same as me? This was the loneliness of being an expert. It was just like that saying. Being invincible is lonely. When he thought of the other task his father gave him, God Yi felt a headache. Find a girlfriend to bring home? I, God Yi, don't have time to fall in love. How is a girlfriend more important than training? If I find a girlfriend like Sister, won't I be annoyed to death? Fortunately, it's still early. I don't have time to think about girlfriends. I'm looking forward to the battle with my sister. When the time comes, I will represent Broken Pulse Sect, and my sister will represent Shun Institution. I'll see how her training is going. At that moment, God Yi was thirsty. I still have to challenge my father in the future. I, God Yi, want to surpass my father and take up the responsibility of protecting my family. God Yi had a great ambition. Dong Huangli also had a great ambition. That was to concoct a super pill. After eating it, one would become invincible. This was just the beginning. However, Yi Yan, who was far away in Shen Institution, also had a great ambition. That was to become a musician. A musician who plays the flute. Shen Institution was actually slightly smaller than Broken Pulse Sect. It did not have such a large territory. However, because it was smaller, the admission requirements were stricter. Some people could not get in no matter how hard they tried. In Minglan Principality, Shun Institution occupied 3/5 of the area. However, Minglan Principality was much larger than Wushu Empire. It was the largest duchy in the entire Kangluo continent. Every day, people from the Kangluo continent would come to experience the splendor of the deity institution. Similarly, deity institution was divided into the inner courtyard and outer courtyard. The inner courtyard was at the heart, while the outer courtyard surrounded the inner courtyard. But there were also many branches in the outer court, and there were countless of them. But in one of the branches, everyone was suffering because they really wanted to die. I haven't slept well for a few months. That damn Yan, can you stop playing the flute? Are you trying to blow us to death? If you didn't have a powerful sister, I'm sure we would beat the shit out of you. However, at this time, Yi Yan was walking in the branch with a pace that didn't recognize anyone. He even had a black flute at his waist. Everyone clenched their fists, wishing they could put a sack on him and beat him to sh*t. However, when they saw the girl behind her, everyone immediately dispelled this terrifying thought. Actually, no one dared to do so, because the headmaster had taken a fancy to these two, and it was said that they would soon become the headmaster's disciples. That was the supreme being. Who would dare to provoke them? These were two little devils. Yan walked with a pace that didn't recognize anyone, while Yi Lu coldly followed behind. Little sister, you have to protect Big Brother. If something happens to Big Brother, Mom will cry to death. Yi Yan grabbed Yi Lu's little hand and said with a sincere tone. Yi Lu narrowed her eyes. Big Brother, Mom and Dad asked you to take care of me and protect me. In the end, I'm the one protecting you and taking care of you. If I wasn't your little sister, Yi Yan patted Yi Lu's head. This action scared everyone. You actually dared to pat the head of a female devil. If you weren't the Big Brother, you would probably be chopped to death. Lu, our Big Brother, only has one little sister. We have the same mother. If you don't take care of Big Brother, who will? Big Brother still has to show off with you. Yi Lu suddenly revealed a cute smile. This made Yi Yan's body tremble. Big Brother. Damn, Yi Yan felt that he couldn't take it anymore. Lu, hurry up and change back. I can't stand you like this. Big Brother. I was wrong, okay? My little ancestor, I'll play a song for you, okay? Yi Lu immediately rolled her eyes. Big Brother could blow someone to death when he fought with them. Then Big Brother, can you spar with me? I beg you, Big Brother. Yi Lu pulled Yi Yan's arm and acted like a spoiled child. How could I, Yi Yan, be your sparring partner? You're so fierce at such a young age. As a Big Brother, can I really hit you? I'll let you hit me every time. When the surrounding people saw Yi Lu acting like a spoiled child, they finally felt that Yi Lu was like a normal person. This was the attitude that a girl should have. How cute. However, there was a demon hidden under this cute smile. Yi Lu had already fought all over the branch, and could not find anyone else. She had encountered the same problem as God Yi. However, Yi Lu felt that it was best if only her Big Brother could be her sparring partner. When the time came, she would represent Shen Academy and beat Brother God Yi up for bullying her when she was young. Lu, it's not convenient for Big Brother these few days. You know, boys have a few days every month. When the surrounding people heard this, they felt a bit dizzy. Especially some girls who heard it, their faces reddened. This Yi Yan was really a little hooligan. But such a cute little hooligan really made them like him. It had to be said that Yi Yan had the tendency to become a playboy. He already knew how to flirt at such a young age. What would happen when he grew up? Big brother, you don't love your little sister anymore? Luer hates you. Yi Yan rolled his eyes. This Luer always did this. The problem was that he fell for it. This was his own little sister. If he didn't dote on her, who would? Luer big brother was wrong. Don't be angry, okay? Yi Yan hurriedly coaxed with a helpless expression. Yi Lu was delighted. Of course she knew that her big brother loved her. After all, he was her big brother. I knew big brother was the best. Yi Lu tiptoed and kissed him. This made the surrounding boys envious. This was a kiss from a goddess. Although it was her big brother, they still felt unhappy and jealous. Yi Yan rubbed his cheek and said helplessly, Luer, you're not allowed to kiss big brother in the future. No, I just like kissing big brothers, Yi Lu said with a smile. I really have to give it to you. I'm really worried for my future brother-in-law. Big brother, you should be worried for brother-in-law. Big sister has a tendency to domestic violence. Yi Yan rubbed his chin, indicating that it was very likely. Big sister was very violent. Baidu search 881 Chinese network. No advertising words. Chapter 941. Looking at the current Yi Yan and Yi Lu. This was the relationship that siblings should have. Once again, it showed that Yi Hua's arrangement was correct. I wonder what sister is doing now, and that ice lump, Yi Yan murmured. Yi Lu, who was at the side, became cold again. She only acted coquettishly to her own brother. Indeed, Yi Lu did not act coquettishly in front of God Yi. She only acted coquettishly in front of Yi Yan, because Yi Yan was her brother. Sister must be bullying brother God Yi, Yi Lu said indifferently. Yi Lu said faintly as he pulled Yi Yan towards the cultivation room. He was already a little impatient. Yi Yan sighed. God Yi is so pitiful. Fortunately, Dad was smart and let me team up with you. Otherwise, I would have been killed by sister. Now you know that sister is good. You ignored me in the past. I am my good Lu. Or why did brother ignore you in the past? It was you who didn't play with brother, and always hung out with God Yi. Yi Yan pouted. How could he say that he as a brother did not play with him? How heartless. Yi Lu smiled. Brother, I know I was wrong. I'll accompany brother more in the future. Yi Yan hugged his sister's shoulder. That's my good sister. Let's go. I'll let you practice. But I have to say, don't slap my face. I won't slap his face this time. I know you want to pick up girls. Hee, don't tell mom and dad. This is a little secret between us. I know. The siblings walked towards the training room under everyone's gaze. Then they both sighed. They mourned for the training room for a second. Because it was about to collapse. It would basically collapse once a month. These two were simply perverts. As the siblings walked into the training room, everyone had a panicked expression, especially those who were taught a lesson by Yi Lu. They immediately pretended not to see it. Yi Yan continued to walk without caring about anyone. Yi Lu returned to her normal expression. Acting coquettishly was not a normal expression. The two walked towards the dedicated training room. Yi Yan pushed open the heavy metal door. Shouts could be heard from inside. Another child of the same age was waving his fists. He looked very serious, and his face was covered in sweat. It's him again, Yi Yan muttered. Yi Lu replied calmly. The boy inside turned around to look at Yi Yan and Yi Lu. Of course he knew them. They were about to become the principal's final disciples. No one dared to provoke them. It could be said that they could do whatever they wanted in Deity Institution. But he refused to accept it. Why were they allowed to become the disciples of Jizun and not him? He slept later than them, got up earlier than them, and worked harder than them. As for that Yi Yan, he only knows how to use his flute to tease the female students every day. And that Yi Lu bullies people everywhere. How could the dean accept them as his final disciples? He must be blind. My forest city will definitely not lose to them. At that time, everyone will regret it. And those murderers who killed his family, none of them would be able to escape. Why don't we wait for him to finish? He looks pretty miserable. Yi Yan said softly. He also knew that Lin Cheng was very poor, not just a normal kind of poor. He basically ate buns every day and couldn't afford anything else. Yi Lu didn't object. On the contrary, he admired hard-working people. Although Lin Cheng was a little poor, he didn't lack ambition. He was famous for being hard-working. He heard that a teacher in the inner courtyard planned to take him as a disciple. In the future, he would be able to make a name for himself. Unfortunately, he was born at the finish line. There was nothing he could do about it. Who told him to have such an amazing father? Coming out of his mother's womb meant that he would be extraordinary in life. Since they planned to wait, the two of them sat at the side and waited. They chatted softly and didn't disturb other people's cultivation. Although this training was just to hit a wooden pole. Lin Cheng's fists were getting heavier and heavier. The two of them were actually sitting at the side and laughing at him. He would return this humiliation many times over in the future. Gotcha. Following Lin Cheng's angry punch, the wooden dummy was directly broken. A strange atmosphere floated in the empty cultivation room. Yi Yan felt that he should clap and praise him. So, Yi Yan started to clap. However, such applause was an even greater humiliation to Lin Cheng. He was actually laughing at him. Lin Cheng couldn't take it anymore. He suddenly pointed at Yi Yan and said, "I want to fight you." Yi Yan, who was clapping, was stunned. He looked at his sister beside him. What did he say? "He wants to fight you one-on-one." Yi Lu said calmly and didn't care at all. He was just asking to die. He overestimated himself. Yi Yan also felt that it was weird. Why did he want to fight him for no reason? Other people wouldn't fight him. Knowing his own strength, Yi Yan persuaded. "It is best if you don't fight. You have trained for so long. Go and rest." "Do you think it is beneath you to fight me? Are you looking down on me?" Lin Cheng hollered. "Brother, you should go." Yi Lu said calmly. Since he wanted to, then he should grant him his wish. In the future, he wouldn't bother him anymore. Yi Yan was helpless. He stood up and walked down. He stood not far from Lin Cheng. Lin Cheng clenched his fists tightly. His chest rose up and down like he was really angry. Yi Yan sensed it too. He didn't know why this fellow was angry. Did he have a crush on his sister? That was possible. However, Luer wouldn't like someone like him. Lin Cheng, just fight casually. Yi Yan, don't look down on me. You have to treat me seriously. Lin Cheng shouted with an immature voice. Yi Yan smiled bitterly. When did I look down on you? You must have misunderstood something. There is no misunderstanding between us. Come. Today, I will defeat you. Lin Cheng slightly leaned forward, his center of gravity between his legs. His left fist aimed at Yi Yan's forehead. His right fist was on his stomach. This was the simplest fist technique in Deity Institution. Of course, Yi Yan knew about it. He had learned it all because it was really simple. However, as for why Lin Cheng hated him so much, Yi Yan didn't understand. Was this the so-called unreasonable hatred of the rich? That was a bit unfair. He, Yi Yan, was a very polite man. He would never look down on others because of something. However, if some people really wanted to be stubborn, then he would look down on them. Then you can come. Yi Yan just stood there. He really couldn't raise any interest. This was just an ordinary person who didn't even have battle chi. He could poke him to death with one finger. Forget it, forget it. He should just pretend to be serious. Otherwise he would say that he, Yi Yan, was looking down on him again. Lin Cheng saw all of this. He was furious to the extreme. His body shook, and then he shouted angrily. Baidu search 881 Chinese network yen. Yen. Chapter 942. Translation. The entire cultivation room was filled with Lin Cheng's angry roar. The entire cultivation room was filled with Lin Cheng's angry roar. That angry little fist directly landed on Yi Yan's chest. Lin Cheng was filled with excitement. He was finally going to defeat Yi Yan. He was going to let everyone know that he, Lin Cheng, could also defeat Yi Yan. He, Lin Cheng, could also become the final disciple of a supreme being. The idea was good, but the reality was very cruel. Yi Yan looked at the little fist on his chest. That fist was scraped because of striking the wooden pole. There were even traces of blood seeping out. It looked rather miserable. Should he put on an act at this moment? At any rate, Yi Yan was so hardworking. If he didn't react at all, what would he do if Yi Yan was defeated? Wouldn't he be the main culprit? Lin Cheng looked at Yi Yan, who seemed to be hesitating. He was very surprised. His fist had already landed on Yi Yan's chest, and this was his reaction. Ah, it hurts. It hurts. Yi Yan immediately took a step back and clutched his chest. Yi Lu, who was sitting at the side, chuckled. Big brother, you're really too much. You're even more of a blow, okay? Lin Cheng looked at Yi Yan clutching his chest as if he was about to die. His eyes seemed to be spewing fire. It clearly wasn't like this just now. You're an expert. I can't defeat you. Yi Yan clutched his chest and said in pain. He had put in a lot of effort and hoped that Lin Cheng could feel his concern. However, Lin Cheng didn't feel it at all. He pointed at Yi Yan and shouted, Are you still looking down on me? Bring out your true strength and fight with me. If I use my true strength, you'll be dead. The gap between us is destined to be a chasm, the kind that can't be crossed. Yi Lu heaved a sigh of relief and lightly leaped to the side. All right, don't waste time. Lin Cheng, go back and rest. No. I want to fight him. Lin Cheng looked at Yi Lu and was very unconvinced. You're not his match. Go back. Yi Lu persuaded again. Yi Yan stopped pretending and said to his sister, Lu'er, stop fooling around. Big brother, that's enough. We still have serious matters to attend to. Lin Cheng clenched his little fist. So it turned out that he wasn't serious at all. They were completely looking down on him. For a city will prove it. In the future, you will kneel at my feet and repent for today's mistakes. Lin Cheng swear. He would definitely do it. The brother and sister looked at the little figure as he left, feeling helpless in their hearts. Lu, you're too much. Don't do this in the future. As the elder brother, Yi Yan still had to establish a good image. Yi Lu chuckled. Bro, that's what you call beating people up. If you directly knock him down, he'll understand how big the gap is, and he won't have any delusions. Sigh, if you don't have any illusions in life, then what's the difference between you and a salted fish? Brother, don't imitate Dad. You're not imposing at all. Yi Lu pouted, indicating that she didn't feel anything. You really don't have any imposing manner at all? Why can't I learn Dad's style? Yi Yan was so depressed. In this life, other than being a musician, the only other thing he wanted was to become a man like his father. Just by standing there, he would be able to suppress everyone. That kind of demeanor was so charming. Brother, you still need to practice, although it might not necessarily be effective. While speaking, Yi Lu walked to the front of Yi Yan. Lu'er, this is what you call beating people up. I will definitely be able to learn it. All right, let's start practicing. Yi Lu waved her hand, indicating that she was already prepared. Yi Yan nodded his head, then asked, What level of control? It'll be fine as long as it's not too exaggerated. All right. The two little fellows began fighting in the training room, causing tremors to ring out in the training room. Lin Cheng, who was standing outside the training room, turned his head around and took a look at the training room, then turned around and left. Right now, it is still unknown who will win and who will lose. Perhaps, even Yi Hua didn't expect that the change between the two children would be so big. In the end, they are still related by blood. They are born from the same mother. However, right now, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were regretting their decision. This shameless Yi Hua, I don't know if he is possessed or what, but he is simply like a tyrant, endlessly demanding things. We are truly unlucky to have met this kind of man. You said that you want to punish us. At least tell us what it is. What did we do wrong? We can change it in the future, alright? You didn't even tell us the main point, and you still want us to die. Divorce. I can't continue living like this anymore. That's what I thought in my heart, but that's what I thought in my body. So cool, so happy. Daji, who was guarding outside, had a face full of envy. During these few days, Master and Madam did not come out at all. I really want to go and help the Madam share the pain. Just as Daji was fantasizing, Luo Ho, who was holding onto a white fan, appeared at the door. Subordinate Luo Ho pays his respect to his honor. After Kai Yin and Yu Hua left, Luo Ho took over the management of all the matters in the city. Right now, he encountered a problem. and he wanted to seek his honor's opinion. Seeing that no one replied to him, Luoho, who had his head lowered, smiled towards Daji. Lady Daji, I'll have to trouble you to inform his honor. How could Daji go and disturb her master's mood? She said faintly. His honor is not free these few days. I really have an urgent matter to seek an audience with his honor, Luoho said pleadingly. This scene reminded one of those muddle-headed emperors. Loyal subjects would kowtow to the emperor and report an urgent matter to the emperor. But what about the emperor? Inside the room, he was having fun with a mermaid. This was the omen of a country being destroyed. His honor isn't free right now, Daji said faintly. Luoho didn't dare to barge in forcefully. After all, it wasn't a huge matter. It's just that recently there had been quite a lot of fights in the city. Originally, it was a very simple matter, but it was precisely because of the fights that happened that was the crux of the matter. Right now, within the city, there was a small portion that said that there were good people among the different races. In the end, those who hated the different races definitely didn't have a good expression on their faces, and then the hatred between the different races became bigger and bigger. In the end, they decided to just take action. If they were to take action, it would be terrible. A small fight every day, a big fight every 2 days, and a group fight every 3 days. Just who should be locked up? Right now, his honor advocates for peaceful coexistence. If you were to lock up the people who supported the different races, wouldn't that be making the people's hearts cold? If I were to lock up the people who hated the different races, wouldn't that be the same as supporting the different races? The problem is, right now isn't the right time yet. If I were to do that, a huge matter would definitely happen, and the consequences would be very serious. Thus, Luoho couldn't make up his mind. He wanted to ask his honor how to deal with this matter. However, right now, his honor was still hugging onto his 2 lovely wives and sleeping. After he woke up, he would continue to f***ck with them, and he wouldn't let go of them for at least a month. Who asked them to scold me for being trash? I, the Supreme Overlord, am someone who holds grudges. Lady Daji, if his honor comes out, please inform me about it. All right, Daji said faintly. Where would I have the time to inform you about it? I am a woman who serves his honor, and I am very busy. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertisement words. Chapter 943. Luoho retreated helplessly. He was at a loss. What should he do? Should I go and look for Wei Chang? No matter what, Wei Chang is his honor's #1 general. And I heard that Wei Chang is also very quick-witted. There should be a way to solve this matter. Soon Luoho arrived at Wei Chang's palace. The moment he entered, he saw Tang Wei taking care of the flowers and plants. She seemed to be in a good mood, and was even humming a tune. Luoho, you came. What's the matter? Tang Wei asked curiously. I am here to pay my respects to Wei Chang. Luoho cupped his hands and said. Tang Wei took the water bottle and said with a smile. Uncle Wei left the city today. It seems like he went to do something. Ah. What's the matter? Tang Wei curiously asked. Right now, Luoho also had the heart but not the strength, so he told Tang Wei what had happened. About this, you can ask Mu Ran. Uncle Wei said that Mu Ran is the scriptwriter this time. Tang Wei had a lot of information. After all, the person who was sleeping beside Wei Chang was Wei Chang. Wei Chang would always tell Tang Wei everything. Luoho closed his fan. All right, I'll go ask. After finished speaking, Luoho walked towards Mu Ran's palace. Such a big city, and you want me to manage it by myself? What is this? Arriving at Mu Ran's palace, Luoho looked inside and discovered that there were 2 figures on the pavilion, and they were currently kiss. Luoho was stunned. Sky red. He hugged Mu Ran and kissed her. You don't do anything but hug girls and kiss them. I run around every day. There was also White Bones. He didn't know where he had run off to, and Guangsha also seemed to have disappeared. Cough, 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 cough. Luoho immediately coughed. What a good Song Kong Hong. You claim to have loved Yuehua for over 10,000 years, yet you had already fallen in love with someone else in just a few years. Most importantly, the other party was a petite girl. Did you have such strong tastes? The 2 people in the gazebo seemed to forget themselves. and only stopped when they heard the sound of coughing. Mu Ran blushed and quickly sat to the side. Song Kong Hong stood up and stood behind Mu Ran as if nothing had happened. As a competent bodyguard, he had to protect Mu Ran, both physically and mentally. Luo Ho was puzzled. Why did Mu Ran like sky red? That face. I'll have nightmares if I see it. Luo Ho, what are you doing here? Song Kong Hong asked. His tone was a little unfriendly, as though he was saying, how dare you disturb me? Luo Ho wanted to vomit blood. You're asking me what I'm doing here. Do you have the nerve to ask? I'm so King tired myself to death, and you're here playing with a little girl. If you have the ability, let's switch. Mu Ran, I have something to ask you. Luo Ho ignored Sky Red and asked Mu Ran directly. Yes. Mu Ran blushed. It was too awkward just now. Why did someone suddenly steal her first kiss? Luo Ho recounted everything that had happened. After hearing this, Mu Ran gradually became serious. She had considered this kind of thing before, but she hadn't thought of a way to deal with it because it was very tricky. What does the Emperor think? Mu Ran asked curiously. Luo Ho said gloomily, I just went to see His Majesty, but I couldn't see him. What is the Emperor doing? Mu Ran felt that the Emperor was still very concerned. How could he not see such a big event? Luo Ho didn't know what to say. Of course, the Emperor was punishing the Empress. That day, the Empress had scolded him countless times. How could the Emperor take it? The Emperor is also busy. In any case, he can't see him. Do you have any other ideas? If there is, I will carry it out. Mu Ran stood up and rubbed her chin as she paced back and forth. It seemed like she could only think of a way herself. Right, how many people support the alien race? Those who just entered the city. There aren't many of them, less than 1,000. Only so little? This is indeed a little difficult. Mu Ran sighed. Right now, the population of Wushu Empire was close to 200,000, but only 1,000 people supported the alien race. It was too little, pitifully little. So, what should we do now? Right now, many people are waiting for the officials to give a reply. They want us to kill those who support the alien race. We definitely can't kill them. It wasn't easy for us to obtain the support of 1,000 people. Mu Ran said in a low voice as she frowned. Luo Ho also knew that they couldn't kill them. He said helplessly, there are already people protesting. If this continues, it won't do. There are even people who are secretly causing trouble and causing destruction. These people who are causing destruction must be captured and punished. As for the leaders of both sides, capture them and lock them up for a few days. Count this as our Wushu Empire's attitude. Don't make a big deal out of this. Luo Ho understood what Mu Ran meant. Give both sides a slap in the face and let them know their place. Alright, that's fine. Let's do this for now. We will make further plans after the Emperor comes out. Before Luo Ho left, he glared at Song Kong Hong. What a lazy person. Luo Ho directly walked out of the palace. This matter had caused him to be in a terrible state. The main point was that no one came to help him. With the banner leader here, the others wouldn't dare to disobey. After Luo Ho walked out of the palace, he brought over 10 yellow armored warriors to the west of the city. Because the west of the city was the location of the riot, and the riot was getting fiercer and fiercer. Looks like I have to use some iron-blooded methods this time. These people are simply too bored to do anything. Walking into the street of the west of the city, Luo Ho's brows furrowed. The middle of the street was filled with trash. Rotten eggs, vegetable leaves. It was as if there had just been a criminal parade. However, not far away, over 100 people were gathered and smashing shops. F***ck smash. These bastards who are speaking good things about the other races. My mother was killed by the other races. These people aren't fit to be humans, they should be sent to hell. That's right, my entire family was killed by the other races. These trash people, killing them is also for the sake of fairness. Smash, the bastards inside, listen up, if you still don't open the door, I will set the shop on fire. Luo Ho walked over with a sunken face and shouted, all of you stop. With such a shout, everyone's scalp turned numb. They turned their heads and took a look, then immediately knelt down. Greetings, Lord Luo. Are you all trying to cause trouble in Wushu Empire? After causing trouble for a few days, you all still don't want to stop. Previously, Luo Ho had closed one eye because he couldn't solve the problem. Lord Luo, these people deserve it. That's right, Lord Luo. They are all protecting the other races. Lord Luo, it can't be that Wushu Empire is also going to protect the other races, right? That is too disappointing. The other races are the natural enemies of us humans. Killing the other races is everyone's responsibility. Lord Luo, please uphold justice for us. Just when Luo Ho was preparing to say something, the door was suddenly opened, and an old man could be seen walking out. He pointed at everyone and scolded. You bunch of heartless people, there are also good and bad races, and you all are the bad people among humans. Chapter 944. Old man, don't force me to attack you. Even if you kill one of me, there are still thousands of me. Motherf asterisk cur old man, you asked for it. Brothers, take out your weapons and attack. Luo Ho was also angered. He actually treated him as thin air. He simply had no respect for the law. Capture all the troublemakers. Luo Ho bellowed. The yellow-armored warrior standing behind him stood up and shouted. Yes. Maybe it was because the Voidless Empire gave people a feeling that it was too comfortable. In fact, there was even a misconception that even if they were to cause trouble, nothing would happen to them. That was why these people dared to resist. You people, don't touch me. You can't afford it. Why are the people from Voidless Empire so barbaric? Don't touch me. Don't be afraid, everyone. If they dare to fight, we dare to fight back. Kill them. Luo Ho was a little dumbfounded. These people actually rebelled. What was he supposed to do? Should I kill them on the spot or capture them all? Luo Ho was just a subordinate. It was fine for him to kill people, but it was not his forte to let him manage. On this matter, Luo Ho was a little indecisive. He was unable to make the right choice and was indecisive. If Kai Yin was here, he would have directly killed him. He actually dared to go against Voidless Empire. No one's face was useful. I'm afraid you don't know where you're standing. You're too full of yourself. However, Luo Ho was not Kai Yun. He lacked a sense of leadership. Even now, he was still hesitating. He was afraid that he would do something wrong and get scolded by his honor. As a result, more than 10 yellow-armored warriors did not receive orders and were being beaten up. However, this scene was seen by many people. They never expected that the inspection team in the city would be beaten up. No one dared to believe what was happening in front of them. The more they fought, the more excited they became. These yellow-armored warriors did not fight back, as if they were afraid of them, so they were not worried at all. Everyone, let's fight. These people won't dare to do anything to us. Haha, this feels great. I actually beat up an inspector today. Damn it, I used to be scared to death when I saw these yellow-armored warriors. So they're all cowards. That's right, it feels so good. That's all there is to it. Beat him up. Luo Ho had yet to react. This was the first time since the opening of the city. This was the first time a guard had been beaten, and it could be recorded in the annals of history. The forest was big, and there were all kinds of birds. There was no shortage of idle people, rich second-generation heirs, or rich second-generation heirs who came to the city from outside. Luo Ho's expression tightened as he yelled, "Capture them all!" With Luo Ho's order, the yellow-armored warrior immediately exploded with a wave of pressure. Over 100 people were immediately flipped over, falling to the ground and howling in pain. There was even an unlucky one who was sent flying into a tree branch. His chest was pierced and he hung there. The onlookers were shocked. Someone had died. This was the first time a dead person had appeared in Voidless Empire. Luo Ho was also a little stunned. Someone actually died. *CK me. I didn't expect that the first drop of blood from Voidless Empire would be me, Luo Ho. Master Hong. Master Hong. Master Hong. A few young men climbed up and shouted at the young man on the tree branch. Their faces were filled with panic. However, at that moment, a large group of yellow-armored warriors appeared. Bring them back. Luo Ho shouted coldly. Yes. This time around, no one dared to act rashly anymore. However, There was still no problem with talking. You all are finished. That is Master Hong, the son of Voidless Empire's #1 nouveau riche. F***ck. I am the son of Voidless Empire's #2 nouveau riche. Try and capture me. My dad is the president of the business association. You all cannot capture me. My dad is the president of the agriculture association. My dad is the director of the real estate bureau. I am going to sue you all for beating people up. Your Voidless Empire is actually helping this group of bastards. Are you all siding with the aliens as well? The aliens are the enemies of us humans. Luoho was already driven mad by these people. He shouted out angrily, "Bring them back and whip them." Yes. Under the escort of the yellow-armored warriors, over 100 people were sent to the inspection manor, and all of them were brought into the underground prison. After that, the sounds of people crying for their fathers and mothers could be heard. Luoho sat in the front hall with a very annoyed look on his face. This is different from the plan. Originally, I was going to capture one person from each side, but now, I directly captured all of them. Some of these people are even the children of some important figures, and the development of Voidless Empire is inseparable from their contributions. F***ck. Luoho felt that his brain was not enough to comprehend what was going on. It seems like I have caused a huge disaster. That young Master Hong, who seems to be the son of the #1 nouveau riche, was directly hung on a tree and died. And these young masters and whatnot. Luoho held on to his forehead. I am not cut out to be a leader. You all went out to play, and you all just threw this terrible mess to me, so annoying. Just as Luoho was facing the wall, the sound of drumming could be heard coming from outside. This is the first time someone is beating the drum outside the inspection manor. I, Luoho, have already taken a lot of lives from Voidless Empire. Reporting, Hong Batian is beating the drum outside. Luoho was a bit puzzled. Who is Hong Batian? Replying to Lord Luo, Hong Batian is the richest person in Voidless Empire. And his son is the one who was hung on a tree and died. The corner of Luoho's mouth twitched. Right after I finished thinking about it, it came. This is really not letting me rest. Soon after, Luoho sat on the stage, then waved his hand. Hong Batian could be seen walking in. However, in Luoho's mind, Hong Batian should be a tall and sturdy man. However, this Hong Batian is a dwarf. To be more precise, he is a dwarf. The problem is, his son seems to be quite tall. Could it be, however, behind Hong Batian, there were a few people following behind him. Although Luoho didn't recognize them, he could see that there were 2 people who were wearing official robes. In Voidless Empire, although there were people who were wearing official robes, it didn't mean that they had been to the palace before. Therefore, most of the matters were handled after the documents were passed down. None of them had seen the emperor before. When Luoho saw this group of people rushing over angrily, he knew that nothing good was going to happen. Lord Luo. Hong Batian cupped his hands and shouted out, not giving face to Luoho at all. As the richest person in Voidless Empire, Hong Batian was the king of taxes, and he was the kind of person who had contributed to the economy of the entire Voidless Empire. Therefore, Hong Batian felt that the reason why Voidless Empire was able to have its current achievements was because of him. However, there was someone who told him that his son died in the hands of the city's guards, and it was the kind of death where his son was hung on a tree. How can I swallow this? Luoho squinted his eyes and looked at the group of people below him. What are you all doing here? Hong Batian didn't fear Luoho in the slightest and said gravely, Lord Luo, you should know why we are here, right? My son was killed by your guards. Their son was captured by your guards. May I ask, just what crime did our son commit to be treated like this? Chapter 945. Omega, choking with sobs. Novel faced with Hong Batian's questioning, Luoho said coldly, the crime of assaulting a city guard. Beating up the city guards. Master Luo. Why did I hear others say that it was the guards who beat him up, and that my son was merely defending himself? Hong Batian's words were echoed by some of the people behind him, and it seemed like they were about to rebel. Luoho was a little out of sorts today. If he could, he really wanted to kill all of them. But could these people be killed? The reason why Voidless Empire was able to prosper today was all because of their hard work. Voidless Empire was created by Yi Hua and his subordinates. However, not everything was done by Yi Hua and his subordinates. Most of the things were done by Yi Hua and his subordinates. Only when there were things that Yi Hua and his subordinates were unable to solve would Yi Hua utilize his subordinates. However, the current subordinates of Voidless Empire were just idling around. After all, Voidless Empire's ecology had already been arranged, and they only needed time to settle down. They were the first batch of people to contribute. Right now, his honor is advocating love, respect, and peace, and Luo Ho is completely unable to make the decision. In Hong Beishan's eyes, Luo Ho, who couldn't make decisions, was even easier to bully. It was as if he didn't dare to do anything to them. Lord Luo, my son has been beaten to death by the guards. How are we going to explain this? Also, what did Lord Luo mean by protecting the supporters? Could it be that Lord Luo wanted to go against the will of the heavens and support the foreign races? If this matter was reported to the emperor, he would definitely not be able to escape. I'm afraid. Hong Batian was indeed worthy of being the richest man in the world. He actually made Luo Ho speechless. It was like making something out of nothing. Since when did he support the supporters? But today's situation seemed to have been caused by the arrest of those who opposed him. Luo Ho did not know what to do. By doing this, does this count as messing up his honor's plan? I'm done for. I'm definitely done for. Master Luo, give justice to my son. Give justice to the world. With that, Hong Batian knelt down. The people behind him did the same. They shouted in unison, Lord Luo, give justice to my son. Give justice to the world. Luo Ho took a deep breath. Now that they had captured them, would they let them go the moment they came in? Then where would Voidless Empire's face be? Could some rich people just take people away like that? Therefore, they definitely couldn't let him go. These people will be detained for 15 days. You can all leave. Luo Ho said in a low voice. He didn't want to bother anymore. Why wasn't the flag owner back yet? She loved playing this game the most. What? 15 days. Lord Luo, you're actually detaining humans for the sake of those foreign races. Master Luo, think twice before you act. Lord Luo, what about my son who died in vain? Hong Batian bellowed. F***CK. What does your son's death have to do with me? You actually came here to ask for an explanation. Do you believe that I won't kill you as well? Luo Ho shouted coldly. This lord needs to rest, please leave. The yellow-armored warriors standing around chased everyone away. However, these people became even more insolent. I want to see the emperor. I want to file a complaint. Luo Ho is in cahoots with the outsiders. Luo Ho, who was sitting inside, wished that he could kill them all. This group of flies that didn't care about their lives should be killed by him, and then soaked in the septic tank for the rest of their lives. Luo Ho didn't even know who to look for. He was at a loss and things seemed to be getting out of control. It was indeed a little out of control. After Hong Batian returned, he immediately bought people to spread the news in Voidless Empire. Things like Luo Ho colluding with the outsiders, killing humans, etc. However, when the supporters heard Luo Ho's actions, they all cheered. This undoubtedly hammered Luo Ho's confidence. One day later, even more ferocious things came. Wandering. 10,000 people actually appeared wandering in the city, holding up banners and protesting. There were even over 100 people sitting quietly in front of the palace, and there were even some who were having sex. Luo Ho was completely flustered, and he hurriedly ran into the palace to look for Mu Ran. When Mu Ran heard Luo Ho's words, she nearly fainted. She originally wanted to slowly change the image of the outsiders in everyone's hearts, but now, not only did it not change, it became even more profound. Even if she, the fake saintess, personally came out, it was useless. Moreover, the tens of thousands of people protesting in the city was undoubtedly slapping Voidless Empire's face, and those sit-ins were also forcing the emperor to make an appearance. Everything was a blow to Voidless Empire. Luo Ho was bewildered. Where did Wei Chong, Whitebones Quang Sha, and the others go? So he went to pull some strings, and the strings he pulled were the outsiders. After all, he had to put on a show in front of both sides. However, right now the problem was very serious, and it threatened the foundation of the outsiders. After Wei Chang received the voice transmission, he immediately rushed back. After all, the problem was very serious. A group of subordinates held a meeting without His Honor present. Mu Ran naturally couldn't participate in the meeting. She still didn't know Wei Chang and Tang Wei's true identity. Since His Honor wasn't present, Wei Chang was in charge of the overall situation. Forget about Lai Gu, he only knows how to fight and kill, just like Luo Ho. After hearing that, Wei Chang entered into contemplation, then rubbed his chin as he paced back and forth. Everyone looked at Wei Chang. However, Wei Chang said gravely, "Do Fusher, do you have any good suggestions?" Do Fusher, who was standing at the back, was dumbstruck. "Why do you always have to look for me? If I do this kind of thing well, I would be able to receive His Honor's praise. The problem is, everyone has no choice but to make me Do Fusher the scapegoat. Why are you all so bad? Are you all planning to make me Do Fusher the scapegoat?" Li Han also looked at her husband with a pitiful expression. He was so pitiful. Not only was he being bullied at night, he was also being bullied by everyone during the day. Do Fusher shouted, "This subordinate is ignorant. At the very least, it is better than being scolded by His Honor." Wei Chang took a deep breath. Who else? No one made a sound. If there was a way, they wouldn't have called him back. "It seems like we only have one way," Wei Chang said coldly. Lai Gu asked curiously, "Wei Chang, what method is it?" "Your Honor, please open the door." Sure enough, this is a good idea. As long as His Honor is willing to come out from his closed-door seclusion, all of our problems will be solved. "I agree." Lai Gu was the first to raise his hand. "Rather than fooling around here, I might as well quickly ask His Honor to come out." All the subordinates agreed. The more people there are, the more power there is. All of them rushed towards Yi Hua's sleeping quarters with an expression that seemed as if they were facing death with equanimity. "If I don't call His Honor out today, I will have to apologize with my death." Daji was a little surprised to see all these people running over. What were they going to do? Master was having sex with the madam. How can he be disturbed? Wei Chang looked at Daji, then cupped his hands and said, "Lady Daji, I have an important matter to report to His Honor. May I trouble you to report to His Honor?" "His Honor is very busy right now, I can't," Daji said indifferently. Sometimes, when His Majesty is unable to see, there is also eunuch reason. Because the eunuch doesn't allow it. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertising words. Chapter 946. Wei Chang also tried to use sound transmission, but His Honor seemed to have turned off the function. There was no response at all. Seems like His Honor is very angry this time. "Who asked your wife to call me trash so many times?" It would be weird if His Honor didn't flip out. But now, I have no choice but to disturb His Honor. "Lady Daji, there is truly an urgent matter that concerns the safety of the entire Wushu Empire. Please make an exception," Wei Chang said with a pleading tone. Although this Daji is just a maid, her appearance is so flirtatious. She might even become His Honor's wife in the future. His Honor is also nurturing her. Daji's duty is to protect her master. Other matters have nothing to do with her. That's why she insisted on her own principles. No. The mouths of the subordinates twitched. This Daji is too stubborn, right? If His Honor continues to play inside for another month, Wushu Empire would probably be in complete chaos. Wei Chang slowly raised his head, and his gaze became strange. "Lady Daji, my temper isn't as good as you think it is." Following Wei Chang's words, everyone's gaze changed. What is Uncle Wei planning to do? Is he going to get serious right in front of His Honor's door? My God, this is too terrifying. Daji has never been afraid of others' provocations, even if it was her master's subordinates. "I'll tell you then. My temper isn't as good as you think it is. You want to see Master today. Unless you defeat me." Daji slowly walked out of the barrier that she set up. This was a type of soundproof barrier, and it was very sturdy when used by Daji. Everyone was astonished. Were they going to start fighting? Wei Chang versus Daji? This is too explosive, right? Everyone swallowed their saliva. feeling that they should go and prepare some small stools, melon seeds, betel nuts, and mineral water. Then, they should observe whether or not this awesome fight would destroy the entire Wushu Empire. When His Honor woke up and realized that he was standing on an empty prairie, I wonder what His Honor's expression will be like. All of the subordinates retreated, leaving an empty space for the two to fight. To be honest, other than the 7 deadly sins, the others had never seen Wei Chang fight before, and they had never seen Daji fight before. However, since Daji dares to talk back to Wei Chang like this, she must have some skills. After all, Daji is His Honor's servant. How can she not have some strength? And looking at his aura, he was even more awesome than Wei Chang. If Wei Chang were to lose today, he would be making a fool of himself. Will Wei Chang lose? In Wei Chang's heart, other than His Honor, no one can defeat him. Lady Daji, let me ask you one more time, can you help us report to His Honor? Wei Chang asked gravely. Daji also replied coldly, no. All right. Then don't blame me. Then come and give it a try. Daji's expression turned cold, and a terrifying aura gradually appeared around her. Sensing this aura, the expressions of the subordinates changed slightly. This Daji still had some weight. Wei Chang was not to be outdone. A powerful pressure rushed towards Daji. The black fog was like a giant crocodile with its mouth wide open, ready to devour Daji at any time. Daji is an orange card, the strongest existence in the system. And she lost just like that. Isn't that a little too easy? Daji's original form was a 9-tailed fox, so Daji was also considered an alien. Around Daji's delicate body, a white fighting aura emerged, forming a huge fox face on top of Daji's head. She did not panic at all when facing the giant crocodile. She even grinned and let out a low roar. The animals that were formed from the two auras actually let out roars. This caused the subordinates to exclaim in admiration. This is what a battle between experts should be like. Just the aura alone is enough to make a comparison. Truly formidable. Wei Chang's wrists could be seen moving closer. When his wrists moved closer, a huge pressure was produced, and that black giant crocodile actually completely fused into Wei Chang's hands. Meanwhile, Wei Chang's hands slowly moved onto the right side of his waist. His body rapidly expanded, and a huge aura revolved around his body. Looking at this scene, Yihong said in a low voice, I seem to have seen this kind of action somewhere before. LV Liang frowned. That's right, I seem to have seen it somewhere before as well. However, the blood demon suddenly said, this is a move from Dragon Ball. Everyone was startled upon hearing that. This blood demon actually reads Dragon Ball? However, looking at Wei Chang's actions, everyone felt that this is plagiarism. In the end, actions are only actions. All of these are just casual actions. And Wei Chang is just doing it casually to liven up the atmosphere. Tortoise. Wei Chang shouted out the first word, and both of his hands were immediately wrapped by a black energy ball. This terrifying might was reckoned to be able to blow Wushu Empire into pieces. Pi. When the second word sounded out, the sturdy rock beneath Wei Chang's feet instantly turned into powder, and a ferocious astral wind began forming. Ki. When the third word sounded out, traces of electric currents could actually be seen coming out from the black energy ball on Wei Chang's hands. Do Fusher exclaimed in admiration. This is at least a Super 7 Kamehameha. Uncle Wei is indeed formidable. Gong. When the fourth word sounded out, the entire sky turned black, and the sunlight was blocked out, making the entire sky look like night. Poof. Wei Chang could be seen pushing his hands forward, and a terrifying aura that carried along a destructive aura rushed towards Daji. Wei Chang was very afraid that Daji would be devoured by this energy. Wei Chang is actually so heavy-handed towards a little sister, as expected, he is so perverted. Daji snorted coldly as she pushed her hands forward. The do chi that was on her body was instantly absorbed into her hands, and a white halo appeared on her pair of tender hands. Then she shouted out, Tortoise. Pi. Everyone looked at Daji blankly. You are actually learning from Wei Chang. This isn't a good thing. Bring out your real skills. Wei Chang was a bit surprised. This Daji is actually learning from me. This is a bit interesting. Bi. Gong. Bo. Daji could be seen pushing her hands forward, and a white energy ball shot out from her hands. The black and white energy ball collided with each other, and Do Fusher had a feeling that if these two energy balls were to collide with each other, half of Wushu Empire would definitely be gone. At this moment, Li Gu naturally had to protect his honor by sealing off his honor's sleeping quarters. This way, even if the two of them were to fight against each other, it wouldn't matter. Boom. The two Kamehameha clashed with each other, just like two balls of black and white flour that were trying to collide with each other. This scene is pretty similar to the one in the manga. LV Liang said lightly. That's right, it's pretty similar. Yi Hong expressed that the scene was already very similar. This Wei Chang is indeed Demon King Piccolo. Endless amounts of Do Chi were released from the two's hands, and the huge amount of light seemed to have illuminated the entire world. As long as one knows how to cultivate, one would be able to sense that huge amount of power. Is this a phenomenon that descended from the heavens? Right now, Wei Chang and Daji were relying on their Do Chi. There weren't any techniques involved in this, and this was completely dependent on their cultivation. Gradually, the black energy wave seemed to be about to devour the white energy wave. Chapter 947. The subordinates who were standing at the side watched very seriously. Uncle Wei's expression was very calm, while Daji's face seemed to be covered in sweat. From this, it could be seen that Daji's strength was weaker than Wei Chang. But to be able to fight against Wei Chang for so long, Daji was still honorable even though she lost. After all, in the entire team, Wei Chang's strength was one of the best. Even now, Wei Chang had not used his original body, but Daji didn't seem to have used her original body either. Daji felt Wei Chang's strength and was a little surprised. Master's subordinates are indeed powerful, but I am not someone to be trifled with. Daji shouted out, and a majestic chi surged out from her body. The white energy actually became much wider, pushing Wei Chang's black sphere back a little. Everyone gasped. This Daji actually had plans to hide her strength. As expected, she is terrifying. Who did she learn this from? Wei Chang laughed lightly. Daji, we serve the same person. I have no ill intentions. That won't do. Daji was very stubborn. No one is allowed to disturb his honor's rest, not even me. Wei Chang sighed lightly. There's no other way. The muscles on Wei Chang's body swelled up a bit, and the black light became even stronger, actually becoming one size bigger. This caused Daji's heart to sink. This is already my limit, but as for the other party, whether or not he is also his limit, I have no idea. But even if I don't know, I can be sure that he is indeed stronger than me. Daji, the victor has been decided. Go and report to his honor. Wei Chang said solemnly. No. Everyone. This Daji is truly adorable, and she is also very loyal and devoted to his honor. Although Daji is going to lose, this loyalty of hers has obtained everyone's affirmation, because there is nothing more important than loyalty. For his honor to be able to obtain such a servant, it is also a kind of fortune. Wei Chang had no other way. Could it be that he really injured Daji? She might be his honor's wife in the future. Thus, Wei Chang swung his hands, and the black light moved at a strange angle to avoid Daji. Even if he dodged it, the shockwave still sent Daji flying. Her back smashed onto the barrier, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. However, Wei Chang controlled the black light and smashed it towards the barrier set by Daji, seemingly wanting to use this method to wake his honor up. No. Daji shouted. Her delicate body turned into a ray of light, intending to use her body to block. This moment happened too quickly. Even Wei Chang couldn't stop himself. If they collided, Daji would have to lie in bed and recuperate for a few months. Her life might even be in danger. All the subordinates' mouths were slightly wide open. This is going to be a disaster. However, Wushu Empire was not only his honor's painstaking effort, it was also everyone's painstaking effort. I definitely don't wish to see Wushu Empire fall just like that. Daji opened up her arms and prepared to receive Master with her embrace. In any case, I just can't disturb Master's rest. You bad fellows. Daji closed her beautiful eyes, waiting to be blown away. Suddenly, Daji felt a hand wrap around her waist. The hand was big and warm. He even felt that he was lying in someone's embrace, And he didn't have to worry about anything in this embrace. It was so comfortable. It was just like lying in his mother's embrace. Daji could not help but look up. This was an enchanting face that could charm him to death. Even if he died now, it would be worth it. This is Master. Master's chin is so handsome. That's right. Yihua finally came out. Just now, when Daji collided into the barrier, Yihua felt it. When he came out and saw that Daji was seeking death, he fainted. This Daji sure is scary when she's stubborn. Yihua stretched out his palm and slapped towards that terrifying black light. That black light was like a volleyball. And after being slapped by Yihua, it disappeared. When everyone saw that his honor had appeared, they went into a daze for a moment. Soon after, all of them knelt onto the ground and shouted, "Subordinates, pay respect to his honor." Right now, Yihua was still wearing his white pajamas. His arms were wrapped around Daji's body as he thought to himself, "This Daji's figure is not bad. Her chest muscles are quite firm." Daji's face and ears were red as she leaned into Yihua's embrace, just like a little girlfriend. Yihua lightly let go of Daji and said faintly, "Don't be so foolish in the future." Daji, who was let go of, immediately felt empty and lonely. "Master, Daji understands." Daji said, feeling wronged. "Everything that I am doing is for Master's sake." Yihua stretched out his hand and patted Daji's head. However, with just a pat, Daji's so-called feeling of being wronged immediately disappeared, and Daji's face was filled with joy. Yihua turned his head and looked towards his subordinates, revealing out a death stare. The latter's head shrunk back. "I had just taught them a lesson twice, and when I was sleeping comfortably, I was woken up. Don't you know that I have a temper when I get up? If you don't have a good reason, I will make all of you break up." The subordinates were completely speechless. This threat is too formidable. "However, Your Honor, back then, you were the one who pulled the matchmaker. We were just listening to your words." "Your Honor, something big happened." Luoho lowered his head and shouted out with a guilty look on his face. Yihua let out a light sigh. "Something big happened again. How can you all have so many big things in your hearts? Tell me, what big thing is it?" Luoho hurriedly told Yihua everything that happened, and the more Yihua heard, the worse his expression became. "There are always unruly people who want to cause trouble," Yihua shouted out. "I gave you all a comfortable and safe environment, but you all actually don't know how to be grateful. You all even came to threaten me. Not bad. Awesome. Do you all really think that I don't kill people? To think that you all would dare to provoke my territory. Your Honor, what should we do?" Wei Chang asked gravely. "This time, we must definitely show them our strength. If not, they will think that Wushu Empire is easy to bully. Wait for me to change my clothes." Yes. All of the subordinates had an excited look on their faces. His Honor has finally become tough. Previously, he had been saying that he would use a gentle policy and reduce the amount of killing. In the end, everyone thought that we are soft persimmons and tried to bully us. Thus, we must use blood to prove that Wushu Empire cannot afford to offend anyone. Yihua walked into the room, and Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were currently hugging each other with a pitiful look on their faces. Looking at their expressions, Yihua seemed to be smiling. I don't want to. Then, I would be saying, "Come on, my boy, these women, they just don't mean what they say, but their bodies are still honest." Under Daji's service, Yihua changed into the emperor's robe, then walked out of the bedroom with a dignified look on his face. "Wei Chang, Lai Gu, follow me. As for the rest, go and arrange for the execution platform. I want to see just how many heads are going to fall onto the ground today," Yihua said coldly. Hearing such a thing, Yihua was unable to endure it anymore. "These humans are too arrogant. They are simply not putting me in their eyes at all. Seems like you all still haven't figured out one thing." Chapter 948. In this Wushu Empire, I am the heavens. You want to fight against the heavens? That's just digging your own grave. It seems that my benevolence made you think that I am easy to bully? Look at how obedient Qingye and Donghuang Baiji are right now. After scolding me for being trash so many times, you should know how powerful my revenge is right now, right? Both Wei Chang and Lai Gu, who were following behind Yihua, could smell the smell of blood. This feeling was really good. He really missed the good times of the past. The air was filled with fresh blood, as if it was filled with a burning fragrance. It was really intoxicating, and he was unable to extricate himself. At this moment, the person sitting quietly in front of the palace gate did not know what was going to happen. He still had an overbearing expression, as if he was the kind of person who did not fear power. His expression was on point and his aura was not bad, but he only dared to sit quietly. However, they knew that the emperor would definitely not kill anyone, because the emperor was carrying out a policy of conciliation. He had been sitting there for a few days, but the emperor had yet to appear. He must be panicking. This voidless empire was very powerful, but this emperor did not have any opinions of his own, and was not decisive in killing. If other countries were to encounter such a thing, they would have long since arrested the culprit and beheaded the culprit. But over here, there is no need to be afraid at all. There were still tens of thousands of people marching. He didn't believe that the emperor would dare to kill them all. If he really dared to kill him, he would be crowned as a bloodthirsty tyrant. Just as these people were in deep thoughts, the palace gate let out a muffled sound. Creaking sounds could be heard. A slender figure appeared first. The emperor had come out. No one had expected that the emperor would choose to appear at this time. What did that mean? Feeling the majesty of the imperial power, everyone lowered their heads slightly. Yihua looked at the spacious public square in front of him, and there were several hundred people sitting there quietly. There was even a banner on the public square, saying that the banner was incompetent and actually allowed the supporters to stay in the empire. Looking at those banners, Yihua was angered to the point that he nearly burned all of them to death. I, the Supreme Overlord, will be able to let whoever I want to come in and stay with me. None of your business. I provide you with food, drinks, and entertainment, and even protect your safety. Yet you still don't know how to behave and ask for more. Let me ask you all, what are you all sitting here for? Yihua asked faintly with his hands behind his back. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what to do. Only when the emperor walked out did they know fear. What was the imperial prestige? This empress is asking you a question. Yihua's tone couldn't help but become a bit heavier. Everyone felt as if their hearts were going to explode, and they were completely unable to speak. At this moment, a person who seemed to be the leader of the group stood up, and even puffed out his chest. I think that what Voidless Empire needs is an upright emperor, and not an emperor who tacitly allows the existence of supporters. As soon as he said this, everyone's expression changed. If they were to die, it would all be because of this man. Yihua slightly narrowed his eyes, then said faintly, "Capture them all." Yes. Wei Chong waved his hand, and countless black-armored warriors immediately rushed out from the palace. The plaza in front of the palace gate was immediately filled with wailing, and some people even started to curse. Tyrant. A fatuous ruler. Voidless Empire will be destroyed in your hands no matter what. Trash Emperor, you don't deserve to be. Yihua was angered to the point of laughing. He turned his head around and looked at those people. You all might not know this, but in this world, the only one who is capable of destroying Wushu Empire is me. After finished speaking, Yihua brought Wei Chong and Lai Gu along and continued walking. Meanwhile, those few hundred sitters were escorted to the guillotine. The guillotine was naturally set up by Yihua, and it was very big, to the point that it was the size of a few football fields. Back then, when Yihua designed the guillotine, he planned to use it as a deterrent, so the bigger the better. I never expected that I would have to use it in just a few months. Humans aren't used to peaceful days, and they always want to stir up trouble, and even want to snatch my empire. Just where did you all get your courage from? I am rather curious. Are there people causing mischief in the underworld? Let's not care about those first. In Voidless Empire's East City, this place belonged to the wealthy district, and it was the place where the celebrities lived. Every time, the parade would pass by this place and shout slogans. The content of the slogans was naturally saying that the imperial power was protecting those supporters, and that many of the children of the opposition were locked up and had yet to be released. The son of the richest man in the country was even beaten to death on the spot. This kind of evil deed should be punished by the heavens, and the emperor must give an explanation. Yihua walked onto the main street of Voidless Empire, and when everyone saw Yihua, they all lightly kneeled down to welcome him. This seems to be the first time I've seen the emperor walking on the main street. Looking at the emperor's expression, the emperor doesn't seem to be very good. Thinking back to the things that happened during the past few days, I felt relieved. Seems like the emperor is starting to worry too. Yihua enjoyed this way of welcoming the emperor. This means that being an emperor is still somewhat useful. If not, I feel like being an emperor is nothing more than this. Gradually, Yihua caught up to the parade. When he heard the words that the parade was shouting, Yihua's expression didn't look very good. What a bunch of unruly people. Furthermore, the number of people in the parade is not small. There are over 10,000 people in the parade. Seems like only the guillotine that flows with blood will be able to teach them a lesson. Towards the emperor's sudden appearance, the people in the parade didn't seem to take it to heart. All of them pretended not to see the emperor and continued shouting. Yihua felt that these people were not bad. They are all youngsters with a very bright future. They have courage and spirit. I hope that the guillotine will continue to be so unyielding. Capture them all. Yes. Wei Chang accepted the order respectfully. Countless black-armored soldiers appeared in the surroundings and surrounded the parade of 10,000 people. The entire scene was filled with an austere aura. Yihua slowly walked to the front of the parade. Everyone was looking at what this emperor was going to do. The atmosphere at the scene was frozen to the extreme. Just what is going to happen? Bring them away. Wei Chang shouted out coldly. This was a 10,000-man team, not a 100-man team. If these people were too strong, there would still be people who would resist. Where are you bringing us to? What law did we break? Some of the people in the parade began shouting out and resisting with their lives. In any case, these people don't dare to kill people. Lai Gu shouted out coldly. What crime did you all commit? Don't you all have any idea in your hearts? Unclear. Your Majesty, please explain. Your Majesty, just what crime did we commit? That's right, Your Majesty, you cannot randomly capture people. Yihua looked at the people in front of him who didn't care about their lives and said in a low voice, I, the Emperor, will give all of you a crime of death. The reason is, your time of death has arrived. The scene became silent. The reason for committing a crime is actually, because your time of death has arrived? Can this be any more unreasonable than this? Could it be that this emperor has gone mad? To actually want to kill so many people? Could it be that he isn't afraid of the wrath of the heavens? Lai Gu feels that his honor is domineering. Chapter 949. Omega 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 Omega, choking with sobs. Novel. It has been a very long time since his honor acted like this. In the past, his honor had always been this unreasonable. Just because of a single word of disagreement, his honor would immediately start killing, and he would never give you a chance to explain, just like right now. I don't care what kind of reason you all have, as long as his honor is happy, I will kill you all. His honor has even found a reason to kill you all. It was time to die. Are you unable to refute? Are you feeling very uncomfortable? So uncomfortable. At this moment, Wei Chang also felt that his honor is starting to be a bit unreasonable. When his honor starts to be unreasonable, he will start to kill. Anyone who was a member of the 7 deadly sins would know this. I'm afraid that these people have truly angered his honor. After all, his honor's temper is much better now, and his human nature has been greatly satisfied. But no matter what, there must be a bloodthirsty feast. I can't accept this. What kind of emperor are you? You don't have the authority to do this. Wei Chang slowly raised his hand and waved it lightly. A black-armored warrior moved like a gust of wind. Azari. With a flash of saber light, a head flew into the sky and then fell to the ground. Everyone shivered at this moment. This was the emperor. Murder. Everyone found it hard to believe that the emperor had really killed someone. Didn't someone say that he wouldn't kill people? Why did they start killing now? Who the hell said that? Yihua expressed that it wasn't me who was killing people just now, it was Wei Chang. Wei Chang also expressed that it wasn't him who was killing people just now, it was the black-armored warrior who was killing people. Each of them was pushing the blame harder than the last. Heartless emperor. There was no justice in this world. Is there still any law? Yeah, there's no justice at all, and there's no law or system. Yihua laughed lightly. I, the emperor, am the heavenly justice, and I, the emperor, am the law and the system. All those who dare to threaten me, the emperor, will not be able to do anything to me. This is a capital crime. Take him away. Those who did not leave, kill. Wei Chang shouted coldly. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Countless black-armored warriors drew their swords. At this moment, everyone was frightened. Because it was for real. Everyone did not even dare to breathe heavily, fearing that they would be killed. However, there were always a few who were not afraid of death, and they made a ruckus in the team. Hazer here. With a gust of wind, a head fell to the ground. I'm just so flirtatious, aren't I? Yihua looked at everyone and said gravely. Everyone who participated in this event, kill without mercy. No nights for the next 3 days. The day after tomorrow, you will be executed on the guillotine. After finished speaking, Yihua disappeared from where he was, but that decisive and murderous voice was still floating in the air, causing one to tremble with fear. Everyone who participated in this event? What kind of event was this? So many people had to be killed. But no matter what, the emperor really dared to kill. Who was the one who said that the emperor didn't dare to kill? Which idiot said that? Hurry up and come out to die. In the next 3 days, the Voidless Empire was enveloped by an aura of death. Many people came to look at the guillotine, because something terrifying was about to happen there. I heard that this time, even the richest man was arrested. So were the officials. As long as they were involved, they were all arrested. He did not even show any mercy. This made everyone feel that the emperor was more powerful than they had imagined. This kind of method was simply cruel to the extreme. Right now, no one dared to say that Yihua was a tyrant, because no one dared to say that. Whoever said that would die. Who dares? Why don't you try? 3 days passed by very quickly. Today it was raining continuously. The weather wasn't very good, and it was giving off an aura of death. There was even snow in the rain, and the cold air assaulted everyone's nostrils. Yihua was currently being helped by Daji to wear the emperor's robe. As for Qingye and Donghuang Baiji, they were still being punished by Yihua. Daji, master, give the madam some nourishment. And Daji understands. Yihua nodded his head, then disappeared from where he was. Right now inside the guillotine, it was completely silent. The only thing that could be heard was the sound of rain falling. This wasn't caused by no one sitting on the guillotine. Rather, it was because the guillotine was filled with people. A total of 100,000 seats were all filled up. Everyone didn't dare to breathe as they slightly raised their heads and looked at the sky. Black clouds were floating in the sky, and one could even feel that the clouds were suffused with a red glow and a bloodthirsty aura. At the center of the guillotine, there was a square-shaped space. The rainwater had drenched the space, but it didn't matter because in a while, this place was going to be filled with blood. Furthermore, there were yellow armored warriors standing in the surroundings, and beside the highest throne, there were a few people standing. These people represented the strength of the entire Voidless Empire. However, the emperor had yet to arrive. Boom! A clap of thunder exploded in the sky, causing everyone's heart to tremble. This clap of thunder is so terrifying, to the point that I'm about to pee in my pants. However, at this moment, a golden figure floated in the center. The royal robe he was wearing was so noble, the back of his imposing figure was so tall, and the handsome face was so shocking. This was a super perfect man. Voidless Empire's emperor. Yihua. Long live the emperor. Long live the emperor. Long live the emperor. 100,000 people kneeled down and shouted. This voice pierced through the clouds, and it was imposing and majestic. Yihua raised his head lightly, and everyone felt that they were being lifted up by a force. The emperor is indeed formidable. With just this move alone, I'm afraid that the emperor has the strength of an overlord. Yihua swept his gaze across the entire place, and the power of an emperor instantly spread out as he said gravely, "Do you all know what day it is today?" Execution Day. The 100,000 people seemed to be matching lines as they shouted out in unison. Yi Hua silently nodded his head. Do you all know why they are being executed? Their time of death has arrived. Yi Hua. I was just saying it casually, and you all really think that your time of death has arrived? Am I that unreasonable? Therefore, you all are still short-sighted and are unable to see through the deeper meaning behind my words. I am going to turn Voidless Empire into heaven on earth. However, I am still a little arrogant. To actually want to change the dynasty, you all say. What should I do? Kill. 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 3 consecutive shouts of kill immediately caused everyone's blood to boil, and their faces were filled with excitement. Looking at Yi Hua's expression, one could tell that it was that kind of brainless worship. Yi Hua silently nodded his head and returned to the throne. Yi Hua then sat down on the throne. Let's begin. Yes. Wei Chang replied respectfully, then shouted out loudly. Execution day. Begin. Woo. Dong dong dong. A series of knocking sounds suddenly rang out, and countless prisoners began to be brought out in an orderly manner. Behind every single prisoner was a soldier, and the prisoners had no way of escaping at all. Fatuous Emperor. You will die a horrible death. The heavens will punish you. Damned Emperor, even if I die, I will curse you. I am going to bring out the highest level of curse your entire family. As these people cursed out, they were pressed down by the yellow-armored soldiers beside them. Everyone knew what they were waiting for. What they were waiting for was to be beheaded. Tyrant. I can't accept this. My son is only being imprisoned. Why does he have to be executed as well? Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. Yen. Chapter 950. Dad, we're not asking for it. Isn't it just death? Muddle-headed ruler will die a horrible death. That's right, among these people, there were old and young. Anyway, as long as they were involved, they would all be arrested. Even the young people in the cages were the same. This time, Yi Hua was truly angered. This had completely touched Yi Hua's bottom line. These people are too arrogant. They are simply arrogant without any bottom line. If not, Yi Hua's anger wouldn't be so big. Look at all these clamoring noises right now. I'm afraid that you guys don't know this, but it's because of this Supreme Overlord's benevolence that you guys have the chance to stay here and enjoy the benefits of Voidless Empire. But now, you guys actually dare to go against this Supreme Overlord's words, and you don't even have a single bit of gratitude in your hearts. What was the point of keeping such a person alive? Just kill him. Gradually, everyone was brought out. The entire venue was filled with people. All of them were kneeling on the ground, but the sound of cursing kept ringing out. Right at this moment, heavy rain started pouring down from the sky, and the sound of rustling could be heard, adding a bit of music to this heavy atmosphere. The cold rain fell on the field, and his hair was soon drenched, making him look like a mess. However, when the rainwater landed on the armor of the yellow-armored warriors, it made a crisp sound that sent chills down one's spine. At least let them know that there was a butcher standing behind them, and they would be beheaded later. His head would roll to the ground. This was indescribably tragic. Of course, Hong Batian was also in the crowd. At this moment, he did not have the awe-inspiring aura he had in the past, but his face was filled with unwillingness. I can't accept this. Hong Batian shouted out furiously. He had created so much value for the Voidless Empire, and now his son had died. He had yet to settle this debt, and now he actually wanted to kill even his father. This was simply too vicious. He had never seen such a vicious person. Such a person should go to hell and be fried. Yi Hua asked faintly, "Who is this person?" Zishan, who was at the side, said respectfully, "My emperor, this man is the richest man, Hong Batian. He is the one who is fanning the emotions of the people. So it turns out that you are the richest man in the world. You aren't as lofty as I imagined you to be," Yi Hua said faintly. "My Majesty, this Hong Batian is of the dwarf race. He's naturally unable to grow tall," Lai Gu said in a low voice. "His son is rather tall." The moment Lin Fan said that, he felt a little pitiful for this fella. This was simply a tragedy. "What are you not convinced of?" Yi Hua, who was sitting on the throne, asked faintly. His voice wasn't loud, but everyone heard it. Hong Batian shouted loudly, Everyone, let's be the judge. I, Hong Batian, have worked diligently to develop the economy of the Voidless Empire, and even the foreign trade was facilitated by me. I have done so many things for the Voidless Empire, and it's fine if you, as the Emperor, don't reward us, but you even brought out a groundless crime. How can we be convinced by this? In the future, who will be willing to work for you? You will lose the hearts of the people by doing this, and those who lose the hearts of the people will lose the world. That's right, our Commerce Association has contributed so much to the Empire's economy. Now he was going to kill them just like that. We don't accept this. Without us, would Voidless Empire have the achievements it has today? That's impossible. You killed us today. Even the heavens are watching, and God will punish you for your sins. You have nowhere to go. Along with these words coming out, several tens of thousands of people began talking about their contributions. Voidless Empire cannot do this. This is a disgraceful thing. Yi Hua felt as if he had returned to that time when the North and South were having the martial arts competition. Although the scene back then was smaller than this, the tone of the speech was more or less the same. To actually go and beg those gods, instead of begging me, the Supreme Overlord. Perhaps if I am in a good mood, I will pardon all of you, but my mood will not be good. However, towards what they said, I still have to talk back to them. I understand what you all are saying, and I also know about your contributions. However, don't forget, in this Voidless Empire, you all can disobey anyone, but I, the Emperor, am not someone that you all can disobey. Do you all really think that I don't kill people? What a joke. When I kill people, I don't even blink my eyes. Everyone was a bit puzzled. This Emperor doesn't even blink his eyes when killing people. How is this possible? Do you all think that just because you all made a bit of contribution, I have to thank you all? Or is it that without you all, my Voidless Empire wouldn't be able to function? Let me tell you all, this world doesn't lack talents. If you all die, there will be a bunch of people who will replace your positions and serve me. You all are just a thing of the past. Also, other than talking big, what else can you all do? When you all met with enemies outside of the city, did I tell you all to go and die? I have given you all the only wealth that I have. And that is safety. A safety that is as solid as an iron bucket. You all are just a bunch of people who don't know how to repay kindness. And you all even tried to overthrow my empire? What a joke. With just a few of your broken mouths. You all are truly thinking too much. Yi Hua snorted coldly and said a bunch of things. Suddenly there were people who started clapping. It would be great if there were people who started the rhythm. The clapping became louder and louder, to the point that it filled the entire guillotine. However, the people who were kneeling on the ground were shouting shameless. The reason why you all are able to have such a life is all because of us. And now you all are actually clapping and asking us to die. You all are just a bunch of unruly commoners. Unruly commoners. However, Hong Batian shouted out again. From what I see, you are definitely a member of a different race. To actually help a different race to kill a human. Yi Hua's words caused everyone present to quieten down. Towards something like a different race, everyone was vigilant towards it. There was nothing that could be done, because it was already deeply ingrained into everyone's hearts. Yi Hua originally planned to carry out his plan step by step, but right now he was feeling very unhappy. This is all forced by you all. Different race? Then what are you? Yi Hua suddenly asked back. Everyone's gaze looked towards Hong Batian. I am a human. Hong Batian shouted out. Yi Hua laughed lightly. Is there anyone who is as short as you? In the end, you are also a different race. You are not a human. Nonsense, I am a human. Hong Batian immediately stood up, and the yellow armored warrior who was behind Hong Batian pressed him down. Yi Hua stood up, then looked at everyone present and said, what are different races, other than humans? All of the different races are different races. And yet, among these people, there are actually people who want to overthrow my empire. Even the different races don't have such guts. To be honest, I feel that the different races are more reliable than you all. I would rather let the different races live in my empire than let you all, filthy people, shit in my empire. Yi Hua's words could be considered as a kind of foreshadowing. Comparing these bad people with the different races, do I feel that they are all the same? If even bad people like these can live in my empire, why can't the different races live in my empire? Perhaps the different races are all better than them. However, Yihua's words didn't contain any certainty, and he seemed to be making an analogy. Chapter 951. No one refuted what Hongdali said. Theoretically speaking, Hongdali was indeed right. You are the spy sent by the outsiders. Everyone, open your eyes and watch closely. Hong Batian still didn't give up. After all, he is the richest man in the country, and his brain is still very good. Even if I know that I am going to die today, I still have to create a bad image for this emperor. Yihua naturally understood what Hong Batian liked, because Hong Batian's words would make others feel that Hong Batian is the one who angered me. I am a spy? Then so what if I allow outsiders to enter the city? What can you do to me? Yihua's acting skills started to soar again. It must be said, Yihua's acting skills are really good. As expected of the person who won the Best Male Lead award back then. Haha, did everyone hear that? This fool actually allowed outsiders to enter the city, risking universal condemnation. He is destined to die early. Hong Batian continued to mock Yihua. From his perspective, his goal was about to be achieved. Yihua felt that his goal was about to be achieved. I admire people like you who aren't afraid of death. Yihua appeared to be angered and shouted out angrily. Fine. Then I will give the decree right now. Starting from tomorrow, outsiders will be allowed to enter the city. Following what Yihua said, everyone was dumbstruck. Even though he is angry, we can't take him seriously. Outsiders are the natural enemies of humans. Just like a cat and a mouse, there will never be a day where they can make peace. Right now, everyone started discussing amongst themselves. Yihua naturally knew that they wouldn't be able to accept this, thus he continued. In my empire, all of the races in Kangluo continent are welcome, but vile people like you are not welcome. Ha 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 ha, I will be watching the destruction of Wushu Empire from the sky. Trash Empire, I pooey, and you trash Emperor. Only if I am blind would I come to this damned place. Yihua raised his hand, and the yellow armored warrior who was standing behind Hong Batian immediately pulled out his blade. Swoosh! Hong Batian's head immediately rolled onto the ground, and with an expression that was filled with grievance, Hong Batian's short body also laid on the ground. The yellow armored warrior shook off the bloodstain on his blade, then kept his blade and stood obediently at the side. Although he only beheaded one person, no one dared to say anything. Those who were smart could sense something. The emperor is telling everyone that no one can go against his decision, and this is the consequence of going against his decision. Die. But there were also many people cursing the richest man. It was fine if he died, but he had angered the emperor and forced him to let the outsiders into the city. This damnable fellow was simply framing the emperor, and the emperor had actually fallen for it. It could only be said that the emperor was too kind, thinking for the sake of the world. However, this kind of method was not right. The outsiders were still the outsiders, and they could not appear in the city. That would cause big trouble. Yihua looked at everyone and said, I, the emperor, have given you all the most precious environment to live in, and I hope that you all can cherish it well. As for what I said just now, I do not intend to change it. If anyone is unhappy, you can leave later. Leave. The Voidless Empire was a place like heaven on earth. The system was good and safe, and everyone had food to eat. There wasn't even a single beggar on the streets. Such a situation had never been seen in the Kangluo continent before. How could he leave such a good place? Even if he lived until he was old, he would still have a pension. The most important thing was that it was safe here. How many empires like this were there in the Kangluo continent? To be exact, there was none. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he would definitely not leave Voidless Empire. Yihua admired these people who had tacitly agreed to it. Kangluo continent didn't have a history of humans and outsiders living together. As long as they were allowed to live together, in the end, they would discover that the outsiders were also a very simple race, and it was completely different from what they had imagined. By then, Voidless Empire would be the first country that allowed outsiders to live in. What a great moment it would be, and it would be written in the history of the Kangluo continent. I, the Supreme Overlord, would also be a wise ruler of a generation, and I would be praised by the future generations. Thinking about it, it is quite interesting. Seeing that the head of the richest man had been chopped off, everyone began to stop cursing and began to pray to the gods, begging them to kill this man and return peace to the world. Yihua looked at these idiots, and they actually began to pray to the gods again. Can you all pray to the gods to open your eyes and let me eat sh*t? However, right when Yihua finished thinking about it, the gods have opened their eyes. Layers of dark clouds could be seen quickly disappearing as if they were being pulled by someone. Very quickly, the sunlight shone onto the ground, and the temperature rose. I was just joking, don't take it seriously. What? You said that I, the Supreme Overlord, don't keep my words. That is because I, the Supreme Overlord, have the strength to do so. Just like how rich people like to say that they are not interested in money. Speaking nonsense with a straight face. I, the Supreme Overlord, am like this too. However, this god's opening their eyes sure is interesting. Yihua asked curiously. Zishan, is this part of the plot that you arranged? Zishan shook her head. How could I possibly arrange such a plot? Last time, I arranged it according to your honor's request, and this time, your honor didn't arrange it at all. As a subordinate, how could I possibly mess around? It wasn't arranged by you? Yihua was a bit surprised. To think that it wasn't arranged by Zishan. Things are going to be a bit interesting this time. Just who exactly is it? I am truly a bit curious. Such a pleasant surprise makes me a bit happy and a bit joyful. I, the Supreme Overlord, love surprises like this. Everyone looked towards the auspicious clouds in the sky. The auspicious clouds carried a sense of holiness and justice, and it seemed as if all evil would die under the auspicious clouds. Everyone had no choice but to kneel down and welcome the auspicious clouds. A lot of people unconsciously kneeled down and welcomed the auspicious clouds that were about to arrive. To these death row prisoners, the auspicious clouds were the hope that could save their lives. The heavens didn't abandon us and still sent the auspicious clouds over. For these people who were about to die, a ray of hope suddenly appeared in their eyes. How could they not be excited? Their desire to live was immediately ignited. This is the effect that Yihua wanted. You all thought that your despair has already dispersed and that the dawn of hope has arrived, but in actuality, it is completely useless. This kind of dawn of hope is just a flash in the pan, and despair will accompany you for your entire life. Boom! A loud sound rang out from the clear blue sky, and soon after, a ray of rainbow light descended from the sky. Zishan, this seems to be different from the way you appeared. Yihua asked curiously. Zishan's gaze was filled with caution as she said respectfully, Your Honor, this is the ray of rainbow light. Only the big figures in Seoul City would receive this kind of treatment. Back then, when Zishan descended from the sky, she was only a ray of golden light, and she seemed very ordinary. However, look at what Zishan is doing now. She is simply too flashy. All these useless things are simply too dazzling. On the other hand, Yihua felt that Zishan's pretentiousness is not bad. She should be someone who walks the same path as me, someone who likes to act cool. Chapter 952. Your Honor, should we get rid of him? He actually dares to come here and cause trouble. Lai Gu, who was at the side, said gravely, to actually come here and cause trouble to his honor's execution ground. He is simply courting death. Yihua paused for a moment, then said unhurriedly, There's no rush, let's take a look first. No matter what, he came from that spirit city, and this can be considered as the first time we met. Back then, there were many overlords who hid in Spirit City. Wei Chang said in a low voice, Did this person from the Spirit City discover us? Or did they really beg for it? Won't you know later? Yihua said faintly. Things have become interesting. There is actually someone who wants to stop me from killing people. I hope that more of you will come, otherwise it will spoil my mood. As the rainbow light descended, a figure could be vaguely seen. This caused Yihua to go into a daze. Not bad, only one person actually came. Yihua laughed lightly. It seems like the enemy is looking down on me a bit, Only one person came. All of Yi Hua's subordinates who were standing behind Yi Hua revealed out a sinister smile. To think that only one person came, I really don't know what to say. Who should go up and tear this person to pieces? Let these death row prisoners know that even God can't save them. Gradually, the rainbow-colored light faded away. A man was floating in the air. Furthermore, this caused Yi Hua and the others to be stupefied. He is actually showing his honors back. Where did your confidence come from? And that hairstyle, it was actually permed with tinfoil, and the way you put your hands in your pockets. Are you really serious? For a person to be able to be in such a state, this guy must have trained. Furthermore, he was actually wearing a flamboyant red robe. From this point alone, it could be seen that this fellow was a slut. 100% sure. At the very least, he is even more coquettish than his honor. Although the man's back was facing Yi Hua, his front was facing the others. But now, everyone was looking at this man who had descended from the sky. Even the prisoners kneeling on the ground were looking at him. However, everyone's gaze was different. It was as if they had seen a ghost. Yi Hua and his subordinates also noticed this situation, and all of them were a bit curious. Your Honor, this is a bit strange, Luoho said in a low voice. Yi Hua felt the same way too. Everyone seems to be acting abnormally. Just what is going on? Why did the expressions of those death row prisoners change? Wasn't this person supposed to be their savior? Why were their gazes filled with despair again, while the others were filled with surprise? At this moment, the red-robed man was in the same situation. Just now when he was taking a stroll, he suddenly felt someone praying to him. This kind of praying happened quite often, but he ignored it. However, he was a little bored, so he came down to see what was going on. At the same time, he wanted to raise his status. As expected, along with me descending, those people were all stupefied. However, it was only for a moment, and soon after, the expressions in those people's eyes began to change. From admiration to astonishment, or from hope to despair. Did you see a ghost? I, Yi Juetian, am a man with both looks and looks. Hurry up and retract your gazes. I, Yi Juetian, do not need to be like this. Alright, since you guys think like this, then just reveal it. I, Yi Juetian, will accept it all. This charm of mine that has no place to hide will cause a commotion wherever I go. However, the one behind me seems to be the main character, right? You guys should just admire the broad shoulders of I, Yi Juetian. This kind of loftiness is not something you guys can achieve. But then again, this was an execution, and there were quite a few of them. It was savage enough. I, Yi Juetian, like you. Then let me, Yi Juetian, see just what kind of person is so cruel. See if he is even half as handsome as me, Yi Juetian. If there is 20%, I will just casually kill a few of you today. If there is 50%, I will just casually kill a few of you today, and leave your corpse intact. This idea is not bad. I, Yi Juetian, am still too benevolent. This damned benevolence of mine. I should have gotten rid of it long ago. Yi Juetian could be seen slowly turning around. Yi Hua also looked at this flamboyant man who turned around. If you scare me, I will immediately insta-kill you. However, when Yi Hua saw Yi Juetian, it was as if he had seen a ghost. Not only was Yi Hua frightened, all of his subordinates were frightened as well. Yi Juetian was the same as well. It was as if he had seen a ghost. Time seemed to have stopped at this moment. Everyone did not dare to believe everything that was happening before their eyes. Because Yi Hua and Yi Juetian looked too similar. It was as if they were carved out from the same mold. Except for one thing. And that was the difference in their expressions. Yi Hua's face was filled with coldness, while Yi Juetian's face was filled with a coquettish aura. That's right. Other than their expressions, the two of them were practically exactly the same. All of Yi Hua's subordinates were a bit unable to use their brains. Who is this person? Could it be that he is his honor's long-lost brother? How is this possible? I have followed his honor for 1,000 years, and his honor is an undead, so how could he possibly have a brother? This is too nonsensical. This is completely impossible to believe. Yi Hua was indeed shocked right now. This person looks exactly the same as me. This is truly like seeing a ghost. Yi Juetian's mind was in a bit of a mess. This person. Why does he look so much like my big brother? That coldness in between his brows, that coolness in his eyes, that coolness in his eyes. He is simply exactly the same as me. This is impossible. Big Brother had already gone missing 1,000 years ago, and furthermore, he had gone missing during a great battle. A lot of people had seen that Big Brother had fallen. It is impossible for him to still be alive. Then who is this person? Yi Juetian rubbed his eyes, then slapped onto his cheeks, then pinched onto his waist. It was so painful that his eyes rolled back. Yi Hua discovered that this was the truth. Big brother, big brother? Yi Hua was confused. This fellow recognized me as his big brother right away. I, the Supreme Overlord, am not like Lai Gu who taught you how to comb your hair. The group of subordinates at the back felt that this fellow was a swindler. After realizing that he couldn't win, he casually recognized me as his big brother. Simply shameless. I thought that this fellow was someone important, but in the end, I didn't expect that. When everyone heard what Yi Hua said, they were a bit stupefied. A deity actually called the emperor big brother? F***K, what is this situation? With a deity as your backing, wouldn't you, the emperor, be able to do whatever you want? The 10,000 death row inmates that were kneeling on the ground were in despair. After inviting for so long, we actually managed to invite a little brother. How are we supposed to endure this? Why did such a person appear? Can we do it again? You, this little brother, go up first. We will summon him again. Big brother, is it really you? Yi Juetian's voice carried a trace of nervousness, and even his hands were trembling. Yi Hua's brows tightly wrinkled. He didn't feel that this was a good situation. However, the subordinates discovered that this man's expression seemed as if he had really seen his big brother. Look at that extremely shocked expression of his. If this is an act, isn't this too real? Chapter 953. Yi Juetian was very excited. He was even more surprised than if he had seen a ghost. She walked towards Yi Hua step by step, and she looked as if she was looking at her long-lost wife. When the group of subordinates saw Yi Juetian's appearance, they all revealed vigilance. It seemed like as long as this guy dared to take another step forward, they would send him back the way he came. Don't think that just because you call me big brother, his honor will teach you how to comb your hair. Yi Juetian sensed the vigilance of these people and stopped in his tracks. This is my big brother. Yi Juetian hurriedly explained. One shouldn't fight one's own people. However, the entire guillotine was watching the reunion. Now the script was very clear. This god that descended from the sky should be the emperor's little brother. However, the big brother didn't know the little brother. From this, it could be seen that things should be very melodramatic. This big brother was supposed to be a god, but for some reason he came down. However, his family thought that he was dead. However, by chance, the younger brother descended from the sky and discovered that the elder brother was still alive. That should be it. In that case, Wushu Empire would have the backing of a god. That would be extremely awesome. Who in the Kangluo continent would dare to offend them? Yi Hua needs someone to be his backing, and I am his strongest backing. For the prisoners who knelt down, their faces were ashen. No one could save them today. Lai Gu berated angrily. Who is your big brother? Don't think that just because you look like me, you can casually call me big brother. Zishan also followed up and said, That's right. Who knows whether or not you are a spy, and are pretending to be one of us. I'm really not a spy. Look at my face, isn't it a slap? After saying that, Yi Juetian started to slap his own face. In order to prove his innocence, he was simply slapping his own face. What a savage man. He was about to slap his own butt. Yi Hua was a little stupefied. This fellow doesn't seem to be joking. His subordinates also felt the same way. Yi Juetian looked at Yi Hua and said agitatedly, Big brother, I little Tian, we are born from the same mother. You are my blood-related big brother. Yi Hua found it hard to believe, and his gaze revealed a rarely seen look of surprise. I can't figure out if this person is real or fake. If it was a fake, he could just kill it. But what if it was true? In the past, Yi Hua had also thought about one thing. How did an undead become an undead? Since they had skeletons, That meant that they had corporeal bodies in the past. So before he was a human, a living human, but everyone had forgotten that it was useless to use a powerful cultivation technique. This was something that couldn't be helped. There were some things that the heavenly Tao could not change. Yi Juetian also could not believe it. He had casually come down and actually met his big brother. His luck was too good. His eldest brother was the pride of the Yi family back in the day, and he was a famous existence in the whole of Spirit City. The Yi family was also a huge family in Spirit City, and he was the sixth brother. He had come out 20 years later than his eldest brother. It could be said that he grew up watching his big brother's stalwart figure, and he was inspired to become a man like his big brother since he was young. He was such a pretentious man, but he couldn't learn it no matter how hard he tried. Big brother's pretentiousness was like a passive skill hidden in his blood. All the ladies in spiritual capital wanted to marry her big brother no matter what. Although she looked exactly like her big brother, they were worlds apart. However, if a person was too outstanding, they would be envied. The brothers in the Yi family were not united. His father's generation was like this, and his generation was also like this. Back then, his big brother led an army to fight against Demonic City, but he never returned. His big brother's army was wiped out, and in the end, someone ran back and said that his big brother was dead. The Yi family's big brother was dead. This shook the whole Spirit City, and even the whole Spirit City was filled with promissory notes. Countless young ladies' hearts were shattered, and it was even said that some young ladies committed suicide. Even his mother fell sick, and even after 1,000 years, she could not accept her son's death. Yi Juetian also did not believe it. His big brother was like a god of war, and he won every battle. When he returned home with glory, the first thing he did was to find his mother, and tell her that he had returned safely. His big brother was a filial son, a good brother, and also a good husband. However, it was a pity that the incomparably beautiful sister-in-law had just married his big brother, and before they could consummate their marriage, his big brother had gone to war and never returned. Just like that, his sister-in-law became a widow for 1,000 years. If she knew that his big brother was not dead, she would definitely faint from crying. After all, his big brother and sister-in-law were childhood friends, and their relationship was quite deep. At that time, they were not married yet, and every time his big brother went to war, his sister-in-law would kneel in the temple and pray to the heavens. She would kneel until his big brother returned, and no one could stop her. And every time his big brother returned, he would go to see his sister-in-law after meeting his mother. His sister-in-law also used this method to open up his big brother's cold heart. Even though it had been 1,000 years, he still remembered how happy his sister-in-law had been that day. She had finally married his big brother, and it had not been easy. One had to know that his sister-in-law had chased after his big brother for 1,000 years, and even if his big brother's heart was made of stone, it should have melted. Luckily, it still melted in the end, and his sister-in-law had finally married the person she liked. His big brother was envied and jealous again. After all, a woman like his sister-in-law was really rare, and even the other brothers of the Yi family would go crazy from jealousy. His sister-in-law was praised as the most beautiful woman in Spirit City, and there was no one who could compare. However, it was this woman who chased after his big brother for 1,000 years, and even the emperor was jealous, but there was nothing he could do about it. Who asked his big brother to be so useful? Big brother was always the one who went to war and killed the enemies. Big brother was always the one who charged at the forefront. There was another time when his big brother came back injured, and his entire arm was dripping with blood. That was the first time he saw his sister-in-law getting angry. She scolded his big brother and then applied medicine for his big brother while crying, and then ignored his big brother for an entire month. But then his big brother went to war again, and his sister-in-law went to the temple to pray. Women, I really can't understand them. But to this day, his sister-in-law was still praying to the heavens in the temple. 1,000 years was like a day, and she had never given up even for a day. This kind of infatuation was finally repaid today. His sister-in-law's prayers were repaid. His big brother was really still alive, and he was standing right in front of him. He was exactly the same as back then, and there was no change at all. That cold gaze, that expressionless face. It was just that his hairstyle had changed, but he still looked as handsome as before. If I were to tell his sister-in-law about today's news, my God, I wonder how she would react. His sister-in-law is so pitiful. The heavens have blessed me. Back then, Yihua was an undead, but why was he stronger than other undead when he cultivated? In the end, it was still his own advantage. Back then, Yihua was a powerful overlord. Chapter 954. Furthermore, he was the youngest overlord. Who wouldn't be envious? Especially those brothers at home. Right now, Yi Juetian was still suspecting if it was done by second brother and third brother. In any case, anyone could have done it. Even the emperor could have done it. After all, back then, Big Brother's contributions surpassed the emperor's. If Big Brother was given time, it was even possible for him to become an overlord in the future. Right now, Yihua was a bit confused. He didn't know if this fellow was real at all, but his appearance was right there. Could it be that the other two subordinates were doing this? Just like Juetian back then, creating a fake to comfort me? But to create such a coquettish one? Suddenly, Yihua thought of a method. If what this fellow said was true, there should be a reaction from his bloodline. Yihua slowly stretched out his finger, and a drop of blood could be seen flowing out from Yi Juetian's forehead. This caused Yi Juetian to be shocked. I didn't expect Big Brother to become stronger after so many years. I actually didn't sense it at all. But looking at Big Brother, he seemed to want to confirm. Why did Big Brother lose his memories? Just what happened back then? A drop of blood could be seen flowing out from Yihua's forehead. The two drops of blood gradually moved closer to each other, and both of them emitted an astonishing aura. From this, it could be seen that Yi Juetian's strength was not to be underestimated. Everyone looked at the two drops of blood in the air, feeling very nervous. Especially the tens of thousands of people kneeling on the ground. If they fused, they would all die today. If they didn't fuse, they could still be saved. However, the other people were thinking that they must definitely fuse with Voidless Empire. That way, Voidless Empire would have a powerful backing. But to the subordinates, as long as they didn't fuse, they would immediately kill them. They were definitely swindlers. Right now, Yihua was also very nervous. If they fused, then what he said would be true. I am still in this world. I still have relatives. To Yihua, relatives were things that he didn't dare to hope for. Of course, it was in the past. Right now he had relatives, his loved ones, his children, and a group of loyal subordinates. These were all his relatives. But mother. This was the reason why Yihua was nervous. To be honest, Yihua hoped that they didn't fuse. If that was the case, he would be able to kill this swindler. I don't have any mother. I don't have any brothers. I don't want to find out about my background, because that is definitely not a good thing. The two drops of blood gradually moved closer to each other, as if they were sizing each other up. At this moment, everyone's heart became nervous, and Yihua was the same as well. Yihua basically wouldn't feel nervous at all. Yihua was pleasantly surprised to see such an emotion. I feel that this is pretty good. There is actually something that can make me nervous. Two drops of blood floated out, as if they were intimately caressing each other. Then, they held each other like they were holding hands. Then came a hug. They had fused, turned into a drop of blood. At this moment, the entire world became silent. Yihua was also dumbstruck. How is this possible? I actually have a blood brother. And his mother. The subordinates who were standing behind his honor were all stupefied. Is this man really his honor's brother? This is too fake. This isn't a dream, right? The person kneeling on the ground was already pale. However, the others cheered. This was a scene of brothers reuniting with tears. Shouldn't they give each other a big hug now? It was too awesome. Yi Juetian let out a sigh of relief, then looked at Yihua with a joyous expression, as if he was saying, "Big brother, now that things have come to this, you should believe me, right?" However, after Yihua's astonishment, his expression gradually sunk. He didn't feel happy because of this matter. On the contrary, he felt very unhappy in his heart after knowing the truth. As for why he felt unhappy, Yihua didn't know either. Yi Juetian directly landed in front of Yihua, And the subordinates didn't stop him. After all, this was his honor's blood brother. When the two of them stood together, other than their hairstyles, it was really hard to recognize them. Of course, there was also their bearing. Tie him up, Yi Hua said gravely. Yi Juetian was prepared to give Yi Hua a big hug, but in the end, he had a stupefied expression on his face. Did I hear wrongly just now? Even the subordinates felt the same. Tie him up. Did I hear wrongly? I told you all to tie him up. Are you deaf? Yi Hua shouted out coldly. Lai Gu and Wei Chang's expressions sunk, and the two of them held on to Yi Juetian from the left and right. Big brother, what are you doing? I am little Tian. You even taught me martial arts in the past. You should think about it again. Yi Juetian hurriedly said. He felt that his big brother was very strange. In the past, Big Brother was just a rock, but right now, Big Brother is just like a rock that has a layer of ice on it, and it is so cold that it makes one shiver. Yi Hua didn't even turn his head around as he said in a low voice. Who are you? I will slowly make you tell me clearly, but right now, I still have important things to do. Everyone was a bit stupefied. Why did the emperor capture his blood brother without saying anything? Just what kind of plot is this? Shouldn't he be giving Yi Hua a big hug right now and celebrating together with the world? This is how things should be done. Right now, Yi Hua's mind still wasn't clear, so he decided to use the heads of these people to clear his mind, or perhaps to think about what he should do next. Brother and mother that suddenly appeared. I am an undead. How could I have any brother and mother? Even if I had, that would be something that happened in my previous life. I have no relationship with that person in my previous life. Big brother, what are you doing? Being held down by Wei Chang and Lai Gu, Yi Juetian didn't have any other choice. Yi Hua said faintly, killing people. Yi Juetian went into a daze for a moment, then suddenly recalled the reason why he came down here. Big brother, you want to kill all of these people? Yes. But, big brother, they are just ordinary people. Why do you want to kill them? Yi Juetian looked at the back view of Yi Hua in disbelief. In the past, Big Brother loved his people, fought for the sake of his people, and even couldn't bear to see his people being bullied. In my heart, Big Brother is a righteous war god who fights for humanity. But today, Big Brother is actually killing people. Is this still the Big Brother that I know? This feeling of disparity caused Yi Juetian to not dare to believe it. Why did Big Brother become so bloodthirsty? Could it be that the people of Shanghai cast a spell on Big Brother? Did the people from Shanghai cast a spell on Big Brother? Yi Hua said faintly. Because they made me unhappy. Big Brother, you weren't like this in the past. Yi Juetian shouted out loudly, trying to make Big Brother sober up. In the past? This has nothing to do with me. Don't talk about the past with me. Yi Hua said gravely, then waved his hand. The yellow armored warriors that were at the very front directly took out their blades, raised them high up, then swung them down. A few hundred heads rolled onto the ground, and with boiling hot blood, the scene was extremely shocking. Big Brother, quickly stop. We are deities. Yi Juetian shouted out. Deities have to protect their people, not kill each other. Chapter 955. Omega Bomega Bomega Bomega, choking with sobs. Novel Yi Hua turned his head around and looked towards Yi Juetian, then said faintly, Deity? Go to hell with your god. After saying that, he raised his hand again. Another row of heads fell to the ground. Looking at his big brother's cold gaze, Yi Juetian didn't know what to do. Just what had his big brother experienced over the years to become so savage? If his sister-in-law saw his big brother like this, she would definitely be very disappointed. After all, Big Brother used to be a hero, a great hero. But now he was an executioner wielding a butcher's knife. With every wave of his hand, hundreds of lives would be lost. Even in Lingdu, such a scene was rarely seen in 100 years. It was a massacre. As the people in the last row lost their heads, the whole place was filled with the smell of blood. Yi Hua slightly closed his eyes, took a deep breath of the fragrance in the air, and his mood became much better. Ignoring his own younger brother, Yi Hua looked at everyone and said, From today onwards, I hope that the people of Voidless Empire will be able to live a good life and not do things that will make me uncomfortable. If you are not satisfied, you can scram. Long live the Emperor. Hooray. Long live. 100,000 people shouted in a pious tone. Anyone who wanted to scram had a deity as their lackey. Big brother, repent and be saved. Put down your knife. Yi Juetian was completely stupefied by the scene in front of him. If this was a war, it wouldn't be scary. What was scary was that some people who didn't even have the strength to truss a chicken were killed. This was a tyrant-style massacre. Yi Hua looked towards Yi Juetian and said coldly, "If you continue to speak, I will behead you as well. Press them down." Yes. Big brother, you weren't like this before, big brother. Big brother. Even now, Yi Juetian couldn't believe that his big brother had become the person he hated the most in the past. After Yi Juetian was suppressed, Yi Hua didn't hurry to leave. "Your Honor, about this matter?" Blood Demon asked respectfully. Yi Hua pondered for a moment, then said, "Let me lock you up for a few days first. I will think about it." After finished speaking, Yi Hua left. After Yi Hua left, all of Yi Hua's subordinates let out a breath of relief. The atmosphere just now was so oppressive. I feel that His Honor is about to take action. His Honor's blood-related younger brother, my God. Do Fusher grabbed onto his hair. "And mother," LV Liang said softly. Tang Wei said in a low voice, "I wonder if His Honor has a wife or not." "If he has a wife," Yi Hong murmured. Two questions popped up in the minds of the subordinates. It was over. His Honor's family disturbance is coming again. However, right now Yi Hua wasn't thinking about that at all. The situation had come too suddenly. I still need to calm down for a while. As for how to calm down, of course, it was up to his two wives. He could only trouble them. After a long while, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji snuggled into Yi Hua's embrace. After being husband and wife for so long, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were able to tell that Yi Hua had something on his mind and was absent-minded today. "What's wrong?" Qingye asked curiously. Yi Hua took a deep breath, then closed his eyes. "I don't know how to say this matter. I still haven't thought about it." Donghuang Baiji opened her beautiful eyes and lightly kissed onto Yi Hua's cheek. "After you have made up your mind, tell us." Yi Hua hugged onto his wives tightly. With the two of them by his side, his heart felt much more relaxed, and he didn't have to face the things that happened in the past. In the following 3 days, Yi Hua returned to his normal life. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji let out a breath of relief. This overbearing man is finally willing to let us go. He can finally get off the bed and walk around. However, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji discovered that Yi Hua was very strange during these 3 days. He wouldn't speak more than 3 sentences during the entire day, and at night, he would only hug Donghuang Baiji to sleep. It was as if he had changed into another person. This caused Qingye and Donghuang Baiji to be worried. They went to ask the subordinates, but how would they dare to tell His Honor about it? This concerns His Honor's private matter. Jokes are jokes, but when it comes to serious matters, the subordinates wouldn't act recklessly. Right now, His Honor clearly isn't mentally prepared to face His Honor's matter, and he needs time to get used to it. Right now, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were walking inside the Imperial Palace sneakily, just like a thief. "Will Yi Hua get angry if we do this?" Donghuang Baiji asked in a low voice. Qingye pursed her lips. "Seeing how Yi Hua is so tired and annoyed, my heart aches for him. However, he isn't telling us about it. When Yi Hua thinks it through, he will naturally tell us about it." Although Donghuang Baiji said this, the curiosity in her heart was no less than Qingye's curiosity. Don't you know Yi Hua's temper? This time, he definitely encountered a troublesome matter. After thinking about it for so many days, we have to help Yi Hua. All right then, if he gets angry at most, he won't be able to get off the bed for another month. Donghuang Baiji had a determined look on her face. In any case, I am very happy. If I don't get off the bed, so be it. The two wives sneakily came to a corner of the Imperial Palace and secretly looked towards a place not far away. Yi Hong and LV Liang could be seen standing in front of an iron gate. The two women knew that this was the place where criminals were locked up. However, in the past, this place was basically just a decoration. These few days, They noticed that LV Liang and the others had started standing here. Presumably, this person was the person that Yi Hua was annoyed about. What should we do? Dong Huang Baiji asked in a low voice. Directly enter? Will they let us in? If they won't let us in, we will use our identity to suppress them. Will that work? If Yi Hua knows, he will still spank us. That fellow is very serious when he hits us. Qingye pursed her lips and said, if he dares to spank us, the two of us will cry. Haha, good idea. If we cry, Yi Hua will be reluctant to let us go. The two wives immediately hit it off. After tidying up their makeup, they directly walked over. LV Liang and Yi Hong, who were currently on guard, were startled. Why did your wives come over? Subordinate greets your wives. LV Liang and Yi Hong shouted out in unison. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji calmly nodded their heads. What are you two doing here? Qingye asked faintly. The green and red brothers took a look at each other. LV Liang said, reporting to your wives, we are currently on duty. Oh, on duty? Then you two are on duty. We will go in and take a look. After finished speaking, Qingye prepared to go in. LV Liang and Yi Hong hurriedly stopped Qingye. Yi Hong said respectfully, Madam, you cannot go in. Why? Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji were now sure that the problem lies within. This is his honor's order. LV Liang cupped his hands and said, Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji originally planned to use their identity to suppress them. Thus they said, I am your wives, what about it? You two are even going to stop us from entering this place? LV Liang and Yi Hong were about to collapse. I knew that this job isn't going to be good. Subordinate doesn't dare. Then move aside. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out lightly. Madams, please don't make things difficult for subordinate. Yi Hong felt like crying right now. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji snorted coldly. We are going in today. If you two dare to stop us, you two should know that his honor is a jealous king. Baidu search 881 Chinese website Yen. Chapter 956. Omega, choking with sobs. Novel. The matter of his honor being the Vinegar King had long been spread out within the group. Regarding this matter, all of the subordinates were able to understand. The Green and Red brothers. Do LV Tao and Yi Hong dare to touch his honor's body? Obviously, they don't dare to touch his honor's body. His honor's reverse scale is his wife's. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji could be seen walking forward, while LV Liang and Yi Hong were retreating backwards. Helplessness could be seen on their faces. What should we do now? Open the door. Qingye said. Honorable madam, his honor will beat us to sh*t. LV Liang said with a bitter face. Yi Hong, who was at the side, felt that all women were the same. My own Zishan is also this unreasonable and troublesome. She blames herself for not being able to give birth to a child, causing me to even suspect that I have a male disease. Dong Huang Baiji said gravely. There's no need to wait for your his honor anymore. Right now, we are going to beat the sh*t out of you. Open the door. If not, I will tell his honor that the two of you have ill intentions towards us. The Green and Red brothers. You can't be so unreasonable. Who can save us? You two can be at ease. Even if his honor finds out about this, he won't blame you two. Just say that you two were threatened by us. Hurry up and open the door. At this point, LV Liang and Yi Hong had no other choice but to open the door. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji revealed gentle smiles on their faces. Qingye said, not bad, Yi Hua didn't waste his efforts in finding wives for you guys. I was obviously threatened by you guys, okay? Madam, don't be too surprised after you go in. We'll just watch from the outside. Surprise? This caused Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji to become even more curious. A woman's heart was burning with gossip. The two women walked directly into the dark cell. LV Liang and Yi Hong quickly closed the door, and then stood guard at the door as if nothing had happened. However, what they didn't know was that right now, Yi Hua was standing not too far away from them. Even though Yi Hua was looking at them, he didn't reject his wives from entering. In fact, he even let out a light sigh. Even such a melodramatic plot has happened to me. I might as well have the Calabash brothers save my grandfather instead. He didn't know how they would react when they saw the younger brother inside. They would definitely be very shocked. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji walked down the stairs. There were candles on both sides of the walls, lighting up the narrow stairs. This environment sure isn't good, it's eerie. Donghuang Baiji said in a low voice. She did not like this kind of prison. Qingye said softly, "It's all right, the dungeons are all like this. I wonder who exactly did Yihua lock up here, and how frustrated he is." Qingye suddenly thought of something. It can't be a woman, right? That's possible, but he didn't want us to know about it. Donghuang Baiji nodded her head. Originally, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were curious and gossipy. However, right now, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were a bit nervous. If it really is a woman, should we secretly kill her? Snatching a man from us is simply courting death. Slowly walking to the top of the staircase, below the staircase were numerous cages. The entire underground prison was very dark, and the candles on the walls were unable to light up the entire underground prison. However, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji seemed to be able to see that there seemed to be a human figure at the top of the staircase. Sure enough, there was a person locked inside. Donghuang Baiji suddenly snapped her finger, and the infinity ring on her ring finger could be seen flashing for a bit. Soon after, the entire prison looked as if it was bathed in sunlight. The two women finally saw the human figure, and the human figure's back was still facing them. However, they also let out a sigh of relief. It wasn't a woman, it was a man. However, this man actually had his back facing them. He is a bit arrogant. Acting deep. Just now, Yi Juetian heard the footsteps of someone entering the prison, and he also heard the conversation between the two women. I have been locked up here for 3 days and I haven't seen a single person, and now, someone suddenly came. Yi Juetian's flirtatious aura came again, and he hurriedly turned his back towards the two women. However, Yi Juetian was also curious as to who these two women are. Judging from the light footsteps, they should be those kind of gentle women. Suddenly, Yi Juetian thought of something. These two can't be Big Brother's women, right? This Big Brother has lost his memories, so it is very normal for him to find a woman. However, then what about sister-in-law? What about pitiful sister-in-law? Big Brother's actions are too disappointing. For Big Brother, sister-in-law knelt down and worshipped Big Brother for 1,000 years. Which woman would be able to do that? None at all. However, it is still hard to say right now. What if it is someone else? It might even be Big Brother's subordinates. Big Brother's subordinates are both male and female. I have seen them that day. As Qingye and Donghuang Baiji walked closer, they suddenly felt that this back view is very familiar. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji took a look at each other, and from each other's eyes, they could see that this back view is actually exactly the same as Yihua's. Walking to the side of the metal door, the two women wrinkled their brows, and their beautiful eyes were filled with doubt. "Who are you?" Qingye asked gravely. Yi Juetian could be seen standing with his hands behind his back, and his head was slightly raised at a 45 degrees angle. This action caused Qingye and Donghuang Baiji to go into a daze. Acting cool, he is the same as Yihua. Yi Juetian could be heard shouting out with a deep tone. "The cool breeze is trustworthy, the boundless autumn moon is boundless, how can an enchanting man like me?" Yi Juetian turned his head around while acting cool, but before he could finish speaking, he got stuck. Yi Juetian looked at Qingye and Donghuang Baiji with a stupefied expression. These two women are so beautiful, to actually be able to compete with big sister-in-law, awesome. However, right now, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji looked as if they were struck by lightning as they looked at Yi Juetian's face blankly. Why did Yihua lock himself up? Has he gone mad? No, this isn't Yihua. Although Yihua likes to act cool, he definitely wouldn't act so coquettishly. Furthermore, the tone that he spoke with was also very frivolous. Yihua had always been a very steady person, and it was very rare for him to even joke around. However, who is this man? Why does he look so much like Yihua? Is this what Yihua is vexed about? Towards a person who looks like Yihua? This doesn't seem to be possible, right? Just like that, the two of them looked at each other blankly. One of them was stunned, while the other two were stupefied by Yihua's appearance. After a long time, Donghuang Baiji asked gravely. Just who are you? And why do you look so much like Yi Hua? Yi Juetian came back to his senses and retracted that frivolous expression of his, then asked in a low voice, Who are you two? If it wasn't for him being frivolous at the start, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji would have treated him as Yi Hua. We are Yi Hua's wives. Who exactly are you? Qingye asked confusedly. Her mind was filled with question marks. Yi Juetian was still very shocked in his heart. These two beautiful women are actually Big Brother's women. My God, my guess was actually correct. Then what about Big Sister-in-law? Back then, Big Brother was a very single-minded man. And he even said that his only woman in this lifetime would be Big Sister-in-law, and Big Sister-in-law would be Big Brother's one and only woman. However, right now it was not like that at all. And two women had directly jumped out from his body. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertising words that you're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.